How's it going, everyone? I'm Honan,
I'm Oliver.
and this is gonna be a bit of a news update here in the beginning, and then we're gonna do our top tens of the year, top 10 songs, top 10 albums. And it's not like I totally stressed Oliver out by making him have a deadline for this.
Yeah, it stressed me so much all the hair under my nose fell out. Uh, we should totally do like a generic like news bulletin intro like oh news.
Yeah, I'll have to like record an audio for it and everything, like
Yeah, just make like a
like
really
a.
dramatic over the. I don't know if you ever saw the intro to Brass Eye, which is like a parody news show from the UK. I mean, it's kind of, I guess if you're not from the UK, it's probably not as popular, but it had like a really elaborate, over the top, like crazy news like intro sequence that went on for just way too long, which is just
Like quick flash scenes of like
there was like a
footage.
dude like he like did like the Vitruvian Man and just like expanded. Yeah, it was nuts. Anyway, yeah. So three things to cover in news. A little update on the lunar situation. So after the nine members revealed that they had, well, apparently it was claimed were filing injunctions about their contracts with Hyunjin and Vivi not doing so far. Um, BBC went ahead and announced a comeback. A full group comeback, they said, meaning the 11 members minus two. Obviously, two is gone. Um, and the teaser looks like shit. It well, the picture was cool, but the actual trailer was like all like just stock footage and B-roll. Like it didn't look like they'd filmed anything new for it. So like God knows if anything's even been made. And it seems like the members themselves had no idea because Hyunjin was like, what the fuck? Basically on Fab, like a comeback. Like what do you mean? like
They just have like left around music and footage, and they're like, "Come back!"
I mean, it's possible. We know that there have been Luna songs and projects that were cancelled in the past, like La Maison and Luna the Ballad and stuff. But God knows. Anyway, it seems like BBC is just trying to force hands, like because I think probably if the nine members who supposedly filed injunctions um refuse to participate in the comeback, then BBC can do them for breach of contract and kick them out and make them pay. That's a possibility. Either way, the fandom is mobilized pretty big into a boycott. They've been petitioning various like distributors and shops and stuff not to stock the albums. They've not been streaming. They've not been viewing the teaser or anything. To the point that the teaser got in its first hour about 1/5 of the views of the last one.
Jeez.
So it certainly had an effect. Like I think it's very ambitious to think that it's going to cripple the sales and whatnot entirely. I think there are going to be a lot of people who aren't involved in any of this who maybe are a bit sad about Chew leaving and don't really follow any of the rest of it. Who are going to buy the album and stream it and whatnot regardless. Probably also some opportunistic people who are like, aha, this is my chance to get into a fan sign finally. But that's not me, by the way. But well, if the album's good, we'll never know. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm kind of skeptical of whether or not the album will actually happen or not. But I guess we'll see.
To me, it's so wild that they would actually do that in the middle of all the dumpster fire news coming out.
Yeah, it's actually mad,
Like,
and it seems like the law. You know how like that Luna had that really extensive law and everything, right? It seems
yeah.
like the way they were steering it was like about them losing Chew. Like that's the storyline they're going with, and it's just the whole thing just seems nuts. Like it is nuts. Um, so yeah, God knows. I guess that we'll just have to wait and see what happens. The closer we get to the release, and then at that point of the actual release, I think the release is like the 3rd or the 6th of January. I can't remember. It's pretty early on in next year, so we'll find out.
I mean, even if the song's good, probably just don't. People just don't want to support it, obviously, because like.
Yeah, people are gonna find ways. I think they'll like download it and then share a download link or something, and just not stream it.
If their whole idea around it is to like kind of screw the girls out of their contract thing and where they have to pay and stuff, it would be smart for them to just annoyingly do it while not caring at all. You know what I mean? Just like not putting any effort into it or something.
Yeah,
You know, like
but the thing is, like, that could have pretty negative ramifications for them in terms of how they're perceived by like the Korean general public. Like they want to keep people on their side, and if they come off as unprofessional or whatever, then that could be quite detrimental to them if they're looking to get work in the future. So they do kind of have to be, they have to be a little bit careful about it. Obviously it's a really difficult situation, especially for Vivi, because Vivi is the only non-Korean member. She's here from Hong Kong, and if she's not working, she's not contracted to the company, she won't have a visa, she won't have rights to a visa anymore, so she'd have to go home. And she obviously rapidly gets another job. So that it's a whole other kettle of fish for her, which is why she hasn't been one of the members to say anything about it.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's a real mess. There's not much else to say about it other than just we'll have to wait and see what happens. We're still kind of awaiting a full statement or anything from Chu's side of things. She kind of promised that there would be one, but we haven't had one yet. So we're still waiting on that.
Considering the support she got from like, I even saw Sun Mi on her story, like support Chu during all this.
Yeah, so many people.
So it's like who goes after Chu in a bullying scheme?
Right.
When I read that, I was like, oh my god, come on, bro. If anyone, it is like the most unbelievable person you could have chosen for like to go after for that.
Yeah, so I'm curious what they have on
updates, right?
Yeah. So other one, quick one. Hyuna and Dawn have broken up. Hyuna posted a very short and sweet message on her Instagram just saying, "Yep, we've broken up. Thanks for everyone who supported us." Bye, basically. Which is sad, obviously, because they were very much the kind of it couple of K-pop. Like a lot of people look to them as the kind of great success story of a K-pop couple. Obviously, they did both cost Cube heavily in leaving, Hyuna leaving a company that she was a huge part behind the success of, and Dawn leaving Pentagon as well. And they, as far as I was aware, that they were engaged. I seem to remember that Dawn had bought engagement rings and stuff, and it looked like, they were going to get married or whatnot. No reason was given. They don't have to give a reason. They didn't have to tell us at all. But yeah, just a bit sad. I can see why people are a bit bummed out. And Dawn initially didn't say anything, but then he came out to defend her because people were giving her shit, saying like she ruined his life or ruined his career or something, which was nice. So
that's not parasocial or anything.
Well, no, it was more towards Dawn being like, yeah, if she never came along, he would still be in Pentagon, and Pentagon are doing well. So like, but whatever. And he came out and said, look, I respect her massively as an artist, don't defame her, like, so whatever the reason, I hope they're both okay and that they'll find their respective happinesses, whether alone or with other people, in the future. And then the last piece of news, we unfortunately lost Ginny from NMIX. Makes me feel more guilty about getting members wrong in the when we did the last NMIX reaction. Ginny is, I believe, the one who said who was the very first NMIX voice we ever heard at the start of their first song. I think she was the shook.
Oh,
I might be wrong again.
Yeah.
But,
I know the part you're talking about.
I think she was also the first member revealed, I think. And she'd been at JYP for like 7 years or something nuts.
God damn, that's a long time to be a trainee.
And it just kind of came out of nowhere. She was messaging on Bubble and stuff, just being like, oh, I'm really glad about what we built together. Like, I really hope we can make more memories together next year, blah, blah. The kind of generic idol end of year shit that people say. And then suddenly, bang, she's gone. And no explanation given, nothing heard from her side. She left both NMIX and JYP. She didn't just leave the group, she left the whole company. JYP have a policy of not talking about why someone leaves, because they said that they always want to support their artists in their future endeavors, and if they reveal a reason, if it's a negative reason or whatever, then it could be detrimental to them in the future, similar to how I worried about the Luna situation. So they haven't said anything. They won't say anything. So it's only up to her if she does. Um, but yeah, just kind of abrupt, and a lot of people are pretty taken aback by it. And then the girls themselves look pretty bummed out. Like just today, they were on the red carpet at the AAAs, and they just look really really sad. As you would expect.
Yeah, it's. I know you can't just straight up give a reason, but when there's no reason, it just leaves so much room for
A lot of
crazy
speculation.
ass shit
Yeah.
to be said about it. Like, I feel like the wildest theories are gonna keep coming out just because there's no kind of like confirmation of anything, any
Yeah.
particular reason why. But that is really weird. It's not like one of those Nugu groups or something, where like that loses a member and you're just kind of like sometimes you
It
expect that to
happens a lot.
happen or
Yeah.
whatever. Like a JYP girl group to just lose a member in like the first year just seems like a really strange thing to happen to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's especially given kind of how stable groups have been previously,
It's seen
right?
twice are still full groups. Yeah, that's like, oh my god, let me knock on wood.
Yeah, twice renewing as nine, and Miss A survived their whole career with the original four. Wonder Girls obviously had some lineup changes, but yeah, it's out of my own curiosity, I do hope that one day she does choose to reveal it. I hope it's nothing bad. There's been some great wild speculation which doesn't really have any merit of like, oh, she's been sleeping with some other idol in a motel or whatever. But like,
Yeah.
even if that's the case, like, so what? I don't necessarily think JYP would just straight up sack someone for that.
Yeah.
But anyway, whatever. There's no point speculating on all the reasons. Let's just hope that she's okay and that she can find find happiness doing whatever she wants to do in the future.
Yeah. If they give an update, we'll update on it.
Yeah.
All right, it is time for the top tens. You ready? You changing your mind?
No, I'm not thinking about it. I don't even remember what I put.
How do you? I guess we could do this just like 10 from song, 10 from album, and then move, or we could do just songs first, then albums.
Let's do just like one chunk at a time.
One chunk at a time. Okay.
So like songs or albums first, and then the other one after.
Got you. So you want to do songs albums at the same time, like 10 and 10? That's what you're saying?
No, the other one. So all songs.
Yeah. All songs.
Or vice versa. Whichever way around
got you. All right. Well then, I suppose.
So do you want to go like we'll do both our? Do you want to do honorable mentions first?
We can do just honorable mentions first.
Reel them off in no order, like it's one each.
For sure. I will start with one that I really wanted to make it in my list. There's just too many good songs, which is 50/50 okay. Loving Me is my like number one honorable mention for like a new girl group that hit right towards the end of the year, but their whole like EP is actually good. But yeah. I thought this song was the best out of all of them off of there.
Yeah, I remember enjoying the EP. I remember enjoying it, but I don't think I've given it enough time to fully like settle yet. But they were the group who came out before they debuted and were like, we're gonna show like a deeper understanding of music. So everyone was kind of looking at them like, all right, let's see what you're about. And then they were like, fair enough, actually, these songs do slap.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say they're like a pinnacle of music above
or anything.
No,
songs, I wouldn't say that. But I was impressed, especially for like a non like major label kind of release. It had really high quality to it.
For sure. Mine, I guess, I added this one. I've been enjoying this song since it came out, but I've been enjoying it a lot recently because of the recent their disbandment. So this is Venom by Bandit. This song just is a great song for me. I listen to it a lot when I'm walking to work. Normally, because when I'm walking to work, I'm going pretty fast, so I'm not late. And like it gets me pumped, it gets me ready for the day.
Imagine you're walking, Venom.
Yeah, I do this because I like to imagine that I would do if I was the choreographer. I would do like two choreographers, be like spit, Venom. That's why I'm not a choreographer.
Spider-Man, like
yeah.
Yeah, I liked that video and song a lot because the video had like kind of the cool biker outfit thing going on for I forget which member, but that it was a you're tugging on the heartstrings with that one for Blueberry and some of the people in the Discord. That was
Favor too. Yeah.
a sad disbandment. I think you and me both have a mutual kind of shout out for this. Super Yuppers was a banger, and it could easily be in anyone's top 10 for the year, almost in mine. But
Super Yuppers is like, it's one of those songs that's just so like, what can be so cool about K-pop that you can get something like that's just a totally unique kind of concept and idea, and just like it's just done in, it's just a really shamelessly fun song, but the song is also like good. It's not cheesy, it's like corny but still like good at the same time. It's like a really good like camp 80s movie. Like a John Waters movie.
The whole Chokame concept is just like great, considering how different it is from WJSN as like a group.
Yeah.
What is the that I have? Oh, sorry, it's your turn again one more time. I just got confused by what I had written down.
Okay. This one you might fight me for. And in fact, maybe the next two, I'm going to leave them. Actually, no, I'm going to leave them off because I'm pretty sure you're going to mention them. So I'm not going to say it. Okay, so Kingdom Ascension is one that was on my... So that was on my top, like, whatever of the mid-year point that we did. I did 30. But we came up with 10 overall, and this was one that got shaved from the top 5. But yeah, this was a great song. This was like very steeped in like traditional Korean music, and anytime any group comes out with that kind of thing, I'm all over it. And this I think was their strongest title track that they've done so far. They really kind of captured everything that they've been trying to do for a couple albums before this one, and this would made me like, okay, yeah, you've hit every nail, you've ticked every box for this one, boys. Like, yeah, that made me a fan.
For anyone who hasn't seen like a Kingdom music video, each member I believe is like their own theme of like
something
royal
like
or something, right? Because there's like King Arthur, and one of them was like Louis in the video and stuff like that. So yeah, they have that kind of wild concept going on.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So Itzy Voltage is technically in my top 10, but I kept it out as a JP release as an honorable mention. I'll kind of do this as a double. Red Velvet Wildside as well. Both of these Japanese releases were like as good as... They're in my top 5 of the year technically, but yeah, I separated them as their own kind of thing, since they were Japanese releases from both those groups. But Voltage was Itzy's best song, I think, hands down, for the whole year, which I know they released a lot of music. They had Sneakers, Cheshire towards the end here and all that stuff, but yeah. Voltage is what I wanted out of the main comeback the most.
That's fair. Yeah, I think I did like Voltage. I wasn't like crazy about it. I don't think I gave either of them enough time to sit. I think because Wildside came out so quickly after. I feel like it came out pretty quickly after Film My Rhythm, right?
Yeah,
there wasn't much time.
The video and song together.
Yeah. Maybe I should give some more attention to Voltage because I remember liking it when I listened to it.
Go watch Wildside again and then try not to be Solgi's #1 fan. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm a man of stone. Very resilient. So I'll give you some boys. That's my in my honorable. So Kihyun, Youth. I was a big fan of both of his releases this year, Youth and Voyager. The Youth EP is really solid as well. Good track on there, Stardust, I really liked. So I say if you release a song called Stardust, it's gonna be good, is what I've realized. But Youth, I think, is the one that took the cake for me. That chorus in it is just really, really nice. And also Party Rock by Gravity, one of my more secret passions. I've become a mild Gravity stan over the course of this year, since they stopped being like Diet Monster X and have become more their own sound. They've developed a very kind of fun, almost like beach rock kind of influenced sound, like a lot of boogieing and stuff.
I'll have to check out Party Rock again. I remember hearing it.
Oh yeah, it's just really fun. It's just really fun. Like you listen to it and I'm just like dum 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 just vibing. Like it's just really fun. And yeah, I like my boys to be fun a lot of the time. So yeah.
Um, I only have two more honorable mentions, which was
Okay.
so I have Stray Kids Muddy Water,
Okay.
because I just
Good
felt
track.
like that was a really cool thing to hear from, if it was from any like boy groups B-side on them, because it was like straight up an underground hip hop song,
Yeah.
like a legitimately so. Like usually sometimes people try styles like that with a bit of instrumental flair of like an underground hip hop song, but this was like for real, like the whole stylistic of the rap and everything in it came across like that. So
Yeah. Stray Kids, like each of their releases this, well, their two like album releases they did this year have had like these, like one track on them which they've gone a bit. I mean, it's not experimental itself. It's just different from what they've done a lot of so far. So like they had Muddy Water, like this kind of old school hip hop track, and then on the more recent album they had the Sriracha song, which was like basically a drill song.
yeah.
Like it was straight up like if they had thick British accents and were referencing Morrison's and Tesco, these are British things mostly,
Yeah.
then I'd be like, oh my god, like this is just a UK drill song. And yeah, I think those are always the ones I tend to enjoy, are the ones that are like most memorable from what they've been doing recently.
They're
Just
really
because,
good
yeah,
at their album as like a whole package. Having
yeah,
really catchy B-sides along with cuz I would say like Maniac was a good comeback. Like I enjoed it, but I
mm.
would say the whole package of the album is what makes it like really
They've
good.
certainly been becoming more and more comfortable with all of the members like shining a little bit more.
Yeah.
I feel like in general they maybe have become a bit more refined in their art, in the sense that I feel like maybe a year or two ago they would whack kind of anything that, cause they produce so much music, right? They have so much churning out. They go, yeah, this will do. Just slap this on the album, you know. And now I think they leave more stuff on the cutting room floor. It feels like there's less filler in the albums, which I think is to their benefit,
I feel like
obviously.
they've grown just a lot in general. Like I, because you've seen, I feel like they're a lot more respected now in like in Korea too. So it
For
seems like
sure.
in general they just became a lot bigger over the last year.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, what do you got?
Uh, One for me, got to give a shout out to my boys, Super Junior, Mango. What a unbelievably catchy tune from them. Like it was kind of close to squeaking into my top 10, but it didn't quite make the cut, just because I don't think it's like objectively a musical masterpiece. It's just like a really fun and like enjoyable song from them. It's one of those songs that I've seen a lot, even they're like anti fans catching themselves being like, shit, I was listening to this and I was kind of vibing.
The
Like,
whole
I
year
was,
for Super Junior in general has been like a year anti fans can't attack them because
yeah,
of
they're
the
just
Camp LA and everything else. They're
just doing
just
bits all over the shop. They're about
yeah.
to release another part of this album, Volume 2. We kind of suspected that. And then, um, yeah, generally just been slaying. Um, yeah, Mango, great tune. Very solid EP as well. And Don't Wait, another song from this that was really, really
It
good.
was good, but if they released like House Party this year, I would have been like throwing that in my top 10.
House Party was real good.
In my house party.
Okay.
um,
You have one more? Or is that
yes, I
you all
do.
done?
I have a
Okay.
final one, and it's a bit of a sad one because of the news update we had in the beginning. NMIX Cool, Your
Uh,
Rainbow,
uh,
which was pretty close
yeah.
towards the end of the year here. I thought that was the best NMIX release I had heard, because it was kind of the first time I got to realize how good their voices really are without like
Mm.
kind of the weird switch up out
With
of
everything else going
nowhere,
on.
like,
Yeah.
and a lot of loud MIDI like going like
Yeah.
between, you know, it was just them, their voices. Like it was a really good song in general too. The yeah, but a bit of a sad asterisk to it now. So,
Yeah.
but it was a great song. If anyone hasn't heard it, it's Cool Your Rainbow off the Dice release, the most
Yeah.
recent one.
Um, okay, I'll just mention the ones quickly that I had in my previous list as well, because I mentioned them already, so I don't need to say anything more about them. But Yunha Black Hole, Taeyeon INVU, A Pink Dilemma, Cherry
I
Bullet
have
Love in
used an
Space,
honorable mention.
Le Seraphim, The Great Mermaid, YouTube Play, and Wua's Danger. Now, Wua's Danger was my number one of the midpoint in the year, so that slipped down to honorable mention status, which should indicate to you why there are some surprising songs in this section.
Honorable mention.
Look, I View is a great song. Okay, it's a great song, but I don't find myself listening to it all that much. So I'm like, can I really say this is in my top 10?
All right.
No.
Now I'm afraid of where like some other songs are if I end up using the honorable mentions.
I'm not done.
Oh, no.
So, other songs that are new to this list, we have Merch's Color It. I'm not sure if you heard that or if I've even mentioned it.
I
before.
don't have any idea. No.
I feel like I might have played it in a live, but I don't remember. MRCH in all capitals.
Maybe.
She's a soloist. She was a writer on Wua's Catch the Stars, but I just happened to catch this release, and it's kind of like a bit more like art rocky type song, like similar to some of Yunha's more like rocky songs. But just Color It, good song, really good song. Also Yuha, Last Dance, that whole thing was a fucking great thing.
Listen, everyone, please go listen to Yuha. Well. Oliver will sip it eternally, if you do.
It's if there wasn't so much other good stuff this year, she could easily have had 2 top 10 placements 2 years running.
Well, she had a big right towards the end of the year here, right? She won, didn't she, or something like a weekly?
That's Yunha.
Oh, Yunha. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Yunha and Yuha. It's very hard. I know.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's.
Yuha is the one who was in Future to Anyone lineup and is always wilding on Instagram. And she did a bit tipsy last year, that like great synthwave track.
I remember.
Yeah. Lucy Play, shouts out to Becca. There's a lot of tracks on Childhood that I could have picked, but Play, the title, I think is probably just a safe option. That the chorus is just too good to ignore. Can't hide away from it.
We like Lucy around here. I'm glad you remembered that, because I feel like I was gonna get attacked by Becca for not bringing up Lucy.
the only thing that kept it out of my top 10 is just that I think the verses are a little weak compared to how some of them are, but the chorus is so good, it like does a lot for it. But especially the first verse, I'm kind of like, there could be a bit more to this.
Sorry, I just gotta conclude that the bass player from Lucy is the nation's boyfriend, if anyone didn't know.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Nine Young Boy. I don't know if you heard this one either.
This is not a familiar title to me.
So Nine is a Nugu boy group. I actually saw them live, like purely coincidentally. They were playing in a festival before this song had come out, which made me at least aware of who they were. I had no idea. And then one of my friends, Cass, she's become a big fan of them, so I kept more of an eye on them. They released an album a month or 2 ago. Young Boy is the title track for it. Again, great song, really, really good song. Kind of like a synth pop X rock kind of vibe. From what I gather, one of the members does a lot of their production and stuff, so that's always cool. The whole EP is really, really solid, and I'm now looking forward to seeing whatever they do next. Like, there's a really, really strong release. So shouts out to Nine. And then, all right, you want the one that's going to shock you, ones that are going to shock you, or the one that's going to shock everyone?
I guess everyone.
Okay,
both?
So on my honorable mentions is 80s is Gorilla.
Oh.
It's happened, especially, and this is maybe pushing it, the Flag version from their Japanese EP Paradigm.
That is I don't even think I heard that one.
Yes, I listened to 80s Japanese release. Look at what's happened to me. I didn't even hate it either. But anyway, yeah, great track. Just really fun.
18
like,
era?
The energy in it. Like, I'm still not fucking with a lot of their earlier music, but Gorilla, great stuff. All right. Ive and Stacy both made it to my honorable mentions list.
Oh, fuck off.
Look, we're gonna have to rip the band-aid off here. Okay.
Oh my god.
We're gonna have to do it.
Which
on my honorable mention list.
Which incredible comeback made it in your honorable mentions?
We have Stacy's Beautiful Monster. And
That's-
Ives love dive.
You're smoking crack over there, dude. What are you talking? Love
Drinking,
Dive is
I'm drinking green tea.
an honorable mention. Love Dive, Song of the Year,
Yeah.
Song of the Year across 2 different award shows.
It just won another day sang today, actually.
Oh my god.
Look.
That's like a I don't even have words. Go ahead. Explain yourself.
So okay. The reason for this, and I love Love Dive, obviously this it wouldn't be in the honorable mentions if I didn't love it, right? I think it's a great song. But I think the formula of it is very straightforward. It's done supremely well. It's like the perfect example of how to do that kind of song. But the thing that takes it away is that there's always the one little bit that I wish wasn't there when I'm listening to it, and that's the dance break part. If I'm watching it, I'm all about it. But if I'm hearing it, I want to go straight back to the. I want to go back to that. I don't want the
like Crystal Method breakdown in the middle of the song, dude. That's like one of the best parts of the whole thing.
I can visualize Eugene dancing, and that's cool and all, but like I wish there was a bridge.
The MIDI from that part is so sick. It's like a throwback to the like 90s techno like era, dude. It's so sick. What are you talking about?
It's just not what I can just imagine what could have been done with the bridge in that song, and I'm always left wondering. You know, that's where I'm at. Okay,
I think that's like the one part of the song too that Goran like absolutely loves. Like,
of course he does. Look, and I do like it. It's just I don't want to listen to it every time, and I'm just left wondering what if. And like, let me put it this way, okay? From the 30 songs from my top 10 and these 20 honorable mentions, I listened to 15,000 songs this year. So those 30 are at a pretty high point, right? And Love Dive is very much like a top 0.1% or whatever, however you want to percentile it, or 0.3%. So I don't know. I can't do math. But yeah, it's just not. I'm just left wondering.
Beautiful Monster was like reasonable. Love Dive is just insane to me.
And I know you're gonna have it on there, so it's not. So our overall it'll be there.
I think I listened to that song so much this year that Spotify was like genuinely worried about me.
And look, maybe there was like self-preservation because I was like, look, if I put it there and you're gonna put it there, we're going to have a top 19, and I'm going to have to pick another one, and I can't pick an honorable mention on the fly. It
was about where the Love Dive placement will be. It was supposed to be on both the list anyway.
Well,
it's a shoe-in.
Things changed.
It's like if Real Madrid lost to like, I don't know, Getafe FC or something.
It happened. Look. Cherry Bullet's Love in Space was on my top 10 until today. I changed it today. So things shift, right?
Yeah.
So that concludes my honorable mentions. Thank you for your time.
Let's move on from that awful take. We're starting with songs, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, God, I can't believe, now that I'm reading this, I can't believe this is my 10, but it is. My 10 is 28 Reasons from Solgi.
Okay.
Do I even need to say anything? I mean, watch the video.
That's not the song, though. The video is not the song.
I'm the song, from the whole album, I did like some of her B-sides a lot, like, Running. God, why am I blanking on the title? But you know the one she wrote has almost the same title as a Girls' Generation song. Why can't I remember it right now? Anyway, she had a lot of good B-sides on the album, but 28 Reasons overall still was my favorite from the whole release. And I thought it had...
Are you talking about Dead Man Running?
Yeah, Dead Man Running. I don't know why I was thinking of You Better Run.
Yeah. It does contain the word run.
Yeah. 28 Reasons was still the best. I thought it had the coolest concept of them all still, like kind of with the evil, good side thing going on. Plus, Solgi had to be in top 10 because I love her voice so much, and a whole album that is just her voice, it had to make it in the top 10 for me. So 28 Reasons was my 10th pick for top 10 of the year.
Okay. My number 10 is Purple Kiss and Nerdy.
Oh, I fucking love Dive. Oh my god!
Look, if you're gonna say this about every one of my top 10,
I won't. I'll contain it.
Problem.
I'll contain it from now on. I'll contain it.
Okay.
I liked Nerdy as well. It was a good song.
It definitely grew on me. It kind of got forced to grow on me because for whatever reason, when I would listen to an album on Spotify, like you finish the album and it will like autoplay you something. Mine for a long time was just like, hey, so anyway, here's Nerdy by Purple Kiss, and it just kept choosing Nerdy as my. And every time I didn't want to skip it. I was like, yeah, this song's good. This song is actually good. And then I was like, this one's actually really good. I think the car door slam into fiddle solo is definitely a highlight of music production for me. Like, and it just has like, Swan's voice plus fucking that cool production element to it. There's a bit where one of them goes bass, and then there's a little bass bit.
Yeah.
Or when they go click, click. I don't know. I always like it when in songs when they call out what's happening, even though it's kind of very simplistic. But,
I will say I think it was their best release by far, like out of all of them that they've had, and I feel like it was the most complete release from them, where I actually felt like they had their kind of own uniqueness to them or something in the song versus like being just a part of like fourth gen girl groups, kind of separated them a bit for me with that one.
Yeah, I think it really kind of showed them coming into their own little category. I think we didn't mention. Did we mention Gian leaving? I don't think we did.
No,
either way, Gian left.
I didn't remember, and now you've just added a sad asterisk to for me as well. God damn it!
It's rough. I know.
Number 9 for me is after all the crap I was just giving. Blackpink, The Happiest Girl is my number 9 of the year.
Okay, I can't honestly remember what that sounds like.
But tonight I'll be the happiest girl in the world. You'll see, like it never mattered. Like the.
Okay.
I love
right.
the members' voices so much individually in Blackpink. It's to me they have such a distinct sound.
Yeah.
And especially Rosé to like Jenny's singing and stuff,
yeah.
And I feel like this is one of those songs where you really get to experience all the members' voices really separately, like distinctly through the whole song. Mm-hmm. And it just has a really, really catchy, sad chorus that makes you cry in your car while you're driving home.
Is that your insight to what you've been doing for the latter half this year? Just sobbing in your car to Blackpink, like I'm not the happiest girl in the world.
It's maybe it's one of the like really different songs on the album too, because like none of the other songs on the album are anything like it at all. So it's kind of one of the few times I've heard them release something like that. Right. Stylistically, they don't usually really do a song like that, in my opinion. So I enjoyed it a lot.
Okay.
And you didn't remember it, so I guess there's no...
Look, I'm who I am. My number 9 is also a YG artist.
Okay.
It's Winner with I Love You. This was actually really high up my list for a while, and it was only kind of when I was reevaluating it that I kind of shifted it down a bit. It's just like, it's like one of the, for me, it's like a song that I think would be hard to hate. That like, the chorus in it, that I love you.
Oh, okay. Now I remember.
Yeah. I could see you weren't quite, the bell wasn't ringing.
The cogs were churning, but
yeah. yeah, it's just so enjoyable to listen to. I don't know what it is. Something about that just it hits so many nice spots, and they have like really fun rap section in it. Just like really nice bridge. Just their vocals really shine on it. It's just a really fun track. It's the kind of thing that I really love when Winner do. Winner are especially good at these kinds of fun kind of boy group songs. Like they had it with Hold as well. When was that? Was that last year or the year before? I can't remember. Um, like they do those ones really well, and this is just another perfect example of that.
Treasure as well did kind of that really fun, almost like Big Bang style song, right towards the end of the year here,
Yeah,
which we really enjoyed as well.
yeah.
YG boy groups hitting kind of that Big Bang fun song thing
We're
again.
finding a
Like,
spot. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. My number 8, I've 11. And you're gonna if someone's not a fan of Ive, they're really gonna hate my list. That's all I'm gonna say.
11.
Yeah. What's wrong?
What was the release date of Ives 11?
Was it not this year? It
It
was the
was.
beginning of 2022, right?
It was December 1st, 2021.
Oh my god!
You sir.
All right, I have an easy swap.
Okay.
I think now I can put one of my honorable mentions in, actually.
Okay.
You know what I'm gonna put there? I'm gonna
What?
put 50-50 Loving Me. There we go. They made it
It's
in.
gone. It's in.
They made it in. There you go, 50-50.
Okay.
You made it in. You made it in because I've just released that song just a little bit too early for me. I was so
Okay.
convinced that was this year as well, like the other two comebacks. Right before January, huh?
Yeah. It was
All
right at the tail end of the year.
All right.
Uh,
Well, 50-50, you made it. Let's go 50-50.
well done. Good job. I'm still coming through okay, right? My whole like browser just refreshed.
Yeah, I turned you up a little bit. You're good.
I'm good. Okay. So, number 8 for me. Rocket Punches. Chiquita.
Oh, man, that was a really good
Chiquita.
song.
Chiquita. What?
Oh, damn, dude. I forgot how good that song was.
Yeah, what a tune. Great tune from Rocket Punch. This is twice. They've made it. This is my first double crown of top 10 end of the year lists because they made it in with Ring Ring last year as well, right? So
Yeah.
fair play to them.
I remember you've talked about a couple times how much you would have loved to see Chaewon in Rocket Punch. Like,
Don't get me wrong, I'm loving looking at Chaewon in the Seraphim. I like to see her in the Seraphim, but I mean, it would have been so cool if she had joined, they kept their style, and then it just kind of catapulted them in popularity. That would have been looking lit. No, I'm not at all mad about Chaewon in the Seraphim, but it was there's like an alternate universe in my head where that was a thing. But yeah, I mean they've been making great music, so I'm not mad about that. I just wish that they could get some more recognition for it.
yeah. She would have definitely brought more popularity for them, but I feel like her smartest career move was going to Seraphim.
Yeah.
For
Oh,
sure.
undoubtedly. I mean, you get the chance to join Hype, like you're taking it. Like, yeah.
My number 7 is from this year. I know this for sure. I've After Like
Okay.
is my number 7. And like I said, if anyone's not the biggest Ive fan around here, you want to turn away from my list right now. I liked After Like. Well, it's funny. I was having a hard decision between 11
were
and
ranking
After
the
Like, which I
titles.
should not
Yeah.
have been, but I thought at first After Like was not gonna be like a release of theirs that I listened to a lot, but I ended up listening to it quite a bit, and it's one of those songs where it's not like it's like genius or anything like that, but it's just so much fun to listen to that if it comes on, I like bump my stereo instantly. It just has that instant start with the dun 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 with the violin, and it just the way like Ray comes in instantly with that really catchy part for me just hooks you like instantaneously.
Yeah, I think Ray's parts in After Like. I mean, Ray tends to have a lot of the kind of killing parts in their songs, right? But
Yeah.
I love her the way that they incorporate her rap into the second post chorus for Afterlife is so cool. I love that. I actually was playing it. Was yesterday? Blasting After Like at lunchtime, and like in my classroom with my kids, because my kids love IVE. They're always wanting me to play their songs. And the teacher, the next one came in and was just like, "Hey, we need to start the next class." We're all there, just like you and I.
It has so many catchy hooks throughout the whole song. Especially just because like obviously it has like one of the best disco parts ever thrown into the track from like I Will Survive with that whole violin run. But if the number one identifier of a great song is if like I'm just finished listening to like Megadeth and then the next second you have me doing in my car like you and I is more than like like it's just super catchy.
People pulled up at the stoplight next to you were like, "Isn't that guy who was crying to Blackpink the other day?"
It's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been very easy for a song like that to be kind of gimmicky, right? Like the ones that kind of incorporated those like classical samples and stuff earlier this year, like they could have done it in a really kind of tacky way, but I feel like it was done very like naturally. It fit well. My number 7, it just got swapped out. So I mentioned that Love in Space just like was in my top 10 and then it got dropped today. But it got dropped for another Cherry Bullet song. That one
Cherry Bullet got dropped for Cherry Bullet.
Yeah, My Boo. My Boo became my number 7 of the year.
I know Love in Space. I don't remember hearing My Boo. All right, I know what we're starting with on Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, we'll do like the 30 seconds preview or whatever of these songs at the end. But yeah, this one it has really cool production, has a really catchy hook. Like it's very difficult not to love it. And I love Love in Space as well, obviously, but I think this one just caught it for being it's just kind of interesting chord progressions and stuff for me. And it actually got me completely by surprise because I remember hearing it like it was in the album of the Love in Space album. And then randomly it played in a bar, like my local bar. But I didn't remember that it was Cherry Bullet. And I was sat there going, I was like, fuck, what is this song? I've heard this song before. And I couldn't place it. I couldn't place what it was. And I remember like recording it. I tried to Shazam it, but that never fucking worked. So I like recorded it and I like sent it to some people. And eventually we were able to piece together that it was My Boo by Cherry. I was like, oh shit, this song's really good. Like, how did I miss this?
Were drunk, heard the song, liked it, didn't remember it was Cherry Bullet.
and now look at it.
And now
7th in my list.
Top 10. There we
look
go.
What
That's
it's done.
You love to see it.
It's My Boo's roll-in moment in my own melon charts.
Bora is a queen, so at any moment she deserves to be in any top 10.
Yeah.
Number 6 is Unbi Simulation for me.
Wow.
And
okay.
I ended up listening to this song a lot more than I thought I was going to after the first time I heard it, because it's just one of those things I didn't expect. Like it's like she did a Talking Heads song on her album. It's so weird. Like it's,
and the days go by.
It has that like era feel to it, like the way it starts with that boom, bum, 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 like bass line and that old MIDI tone that comes in, like, and just the way she holds like the simulation like part of it's all so it's a great cool song in my opinion.
She's really just like done so much worthy of credit for her solo career, like because Glitch earlier this year as well was another great song that we both liked a lot, and that was pretty close to being in at least my honorable mentions. But yeah, just every time she has, at least if not the title track, there's like something on the release as a whole that's pretty impressive. And she's shown a pretty wide like capability, like she's shown that she's some strong diversity in what she can do. Very cool stuff.
In my opinion, she's released the best solo music of the solo Eyes One artist.
Yeah.
But not just that, like I feel like she hasn't missed like across all
Yeah.
the tracks I've listened to of hers. So, like even
Yeah.
Underwater not being like her best one, I would say out of
It's
all of
still
her,
good though.
it's still a really good song. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I listened to I listened to Door again the other day, which obviously was from her debut, and that's a great track. Really good stuff.
All her music slaps, and her B sides
Yeah.
on all on that whole Underwater release are really good. Simulation just happens to be the best
Lethality is the
one.
name of the album.
Yeah, lethality, which
Yeah.
makes sense when you see Unbi because my god. All right, what we got?
All right. This one you can guess, I think. It's me. It was gonna be on there at some point. It is, of course, limbo, limbo, limbo,
Oh,
limbo,
God
limbo,
damn it, I knew it. Nature.
Baby, let's do the limbo. Yeah, nature limbo. Even like, okay, look, I am ride or die for nature, but I am an objective and critical man. And and if my faves don't release something that I think is that great, I will not say that it's great just because they're my faves, right? But Limbo, Limbo, I feel is one of those songs which captures everything that I loved about K-pop, that made me want to listen to K-pop back in 2011, that made me want to come back to it in 2017, and like is why I think K-pop is so fucking cool. Is that it's like what Western song could you have that would have a chorus with choreography like that, and then follow it up with the hair, the like wild instrumental and the hair choreo and stuff, like nothing else could do that. And I feel like out of a lot of K-pop groups that there are around, not many can do it better than Nature can. And even me trying to say this as neutrally as possible. Yeah, it's exactly what K-pop can be and what I love about it, and so that's why it's my number 6. And I think the more I watched it, the more I loved it.
It was a really good release from them. It was super catchy. Like I still remember like the melody line of it sticks with you afterwards.
Yeah,
I think the only reason that song isn't held higher for me is because I actually liked "I'm Done" better from their album, the B side.
Yeah,
just a little
it's
bit more.
Really good. There's a really solid tracks on the EP as a whole.
Yeah.
And it's definitely, I think, their most like balanced release that they've had so far. Like it didn't massively favor the vocal line like it has, like some of their songs have done it in the past. Felt like everyone got a good moment to shine. There were a lot of good center moments for a lot of the members and stuff. Yeah, and word on the grapevine is that they're releasing something else early next year.
Nice.
You didn't hear that from me.
That was 6, right?
Yes.
All right.
So you're 5.
Okay. Oh my god, it's time for me to simp like I've never simped before, okay? I got Changmin Devil at number 5 here.
I was like, we haven't been simping already. All right.
My man, okay?
Your boy Max.
My boy. I feel like Devil is like the perfect example of why I like SM style so much. With those kind of like really cool vocal lines that will make you kind of realize how cool the harmony is like the whole time and stuff. But especially how his voice is just so amazing to me. Like he hits rasp, which you don't hear from so many K-pop like male idol singers. You don't really hear them go edgy like that on their voice very often, and he just goes for it like all the time.
Yeah.
And Devil's one of the songs where he really goes after it. Like it's, and the choreography. If you watch that man dance, he'll have you question your sexuality.
Yeah, I mean, Changmin, obviously he's been doing this for nigh on 20 years, right? But it's like it makes me impressed every time how his like vocal cords haven't just like burst out of his throat, like with the falsetto that he goes to, and the way he can like project his voice so well, even in tones that high, is just like crazy impressive. And yeah, his solo music is fucking great, and he's really. It seems like it feels like he's only kind of gotten better. Like in the last couple of years, he's reached a sort of a new level of the quality of his music that he's been producing. Yeah, he should have been on mine.
It,
He was close.
he's phenomenal. That's all you can say about Changmin. It's like I've
Yeah.
never just not been like, God damn, every time I watch.
I mean, there's a reason his status is what it is, right? Like,
Yeah.
he's Changman. Like, yeah.
All right, what do we got from you? Number 5.
My number 5 is also an SM artist.
Oh, what are the odds we've tied the label to the same number?
It is Red Velvet's "Feel My Rhythm."
Oh,
This I don't really know why this wasn't in my top 5 when we did the ones in the mid-year point. It was in my top 30.
should I change my list because I also have it?
No. It is what it is. Yeah, I mean, I think what made me realize how fucking cool this song is obviously like we have like the back sample and everything that it's built on. We have how cool the music video is and all of that. But I think the thing that really got me, and it was a little bit after it came out, and I was listening to it, and I was like, actually, what really gets me for this is the bridge. And like, obviously, with a lot of SM artists, especially Red Velvet, we talk about the bridge a lot, right? They have so many great bridges, but what happens in the production when they have like it's kind of hard to like vocalize it, you know? So you just have to kind of listen to the song and know what I mean, like, and then how that like where they have like the little chopped vocal bits. Well, the production's going crazy, and then it leads into that vocal run, and then the key shift final chorus is just like,
and it's seamlessly blended like a classical masterpiece into the song, too, without being annoying or anything, you know. Like it's
like we were saying with After Like and the use of Gloria Gaynor, this one is like manages to use like a really really famous piece of music like in Air on the G string and just like blended it as if you didn't know it was Bach somehow or if it wasn't, it would be like, oh, this is just some string MIDI plugin that the Red Velvet producers made, and it fits just like any one of their songs. Like it's so well done naturally. Yeah,
there's so many parts of their music that are always like so catchy that you can pick so many different parts of the song. Like the chorus obviously is awesome in that song, but what always gets me is right away when it starts and Solgi does like, this is gonna be a crazy night. Just that whole section right there of like, because right before it is like the Yeri talk rap, I think, or whatever, like right into that. It's so good. Just there's so many parts that are always so catchy from some of their releases. It's that was number 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I have at number 4 I Envy You Taeyeon.
No wonder you are mad at me.
Yes, I have it in my top 4 because, listen, not just actually I came really close to putting I don't know why I'm blanking on the title, but the one she released right before I Envy You as well in my top list. But
I Can't Control Myself.
Yes, that one. Yeah. I Envy You, though, not just as a song, but I for blessing me with like Bow Goddess Taeyeon in the beginning of the music video is one of the best moments of the year for me. But it's, for one moment alone, it was like one of my favorite songs, which is that towards the end of the song when she really holds that note out and goes,
that for me was why it was that was what brought it into my mentions alone, is that like, God, like you feel that note so hard, right? Those notes so hard, like
and the whole package of that song mixed with choreography is like a masterpiece in my opinion. Like her choreography is so memorable from like that song when you see the I N B U thing she does with her hand and everything. It's just the whole package of it is perfect for me. Like it really came close to being even higher. It's just the next 3 songs I have are just too good. But it's probably, it's hard to say it's my favorite Taeyeon release ever. She has some awesome songs.
It's a high bar, right? But it's up.
It's just, I feel like it's the one where rather than just, sometimes she feels so separate from Girls' Generation. And I feel like this was one of the times where I was like, okay, this is the leader of like Girls' Generation having like a badass song or whatever, where she had more of the girl group side of herself in it versus like the
And
Taeyeon,
at least
the
that has like
art.
the choreo and stuff
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well,
yeah.
right? Yeah, because I remember on Twitter, what was the context? It was something to do about Disney songs. And someone had happened to share um something about Frozen, and this is what happens to me on Twitter late at night. I end up in Frozen OST discourse. Um, and someone shared. They honestly did the Korean OST for Frozen, right? Frozen 2. Um, and someone shared a clip of her singing that the song from that live, and some local was like, "Oh, hey, who's this? Like, they're killing it." And I was like, that, my friend, is Kim Taeyeon. And so I was thinking, I'm not gonna just be like, oh hey, here's a whole shit ton of songs and whatnot, and like and really go over the top. Just be like, well, she's a super famous singer in South Korea. She's part of a really famous girl group, Girls' Generation, and she's a really successful soloist. And I was like, can I give them one song to try and sum up Taeyeon? And I was like, I got to do I Envy You. I couldn't think of any other song. Yeah, I could have done I or something like that. And I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? I think, you know how I felt about Spark as well, but I just thought, yeah, it's got to be IMVU.
It's the
They liked
perfect
it.
song of her as a solo artist and her as the leader of Girls' Generation. I think it encapsulates both those identities into one song
Yeah,
versus some of her other stuff where she very much is just her own like self versus being like also a girl group leader.
yeah.
All right, what do we got from you?
Okay, this was a late entry. I knew as soon as I heard it that it was going to be on there, but
All the way
this
up to number
is
4, huh?
yeah, this is Luli Lee's "Goodbye, My Love."
Okay, I remember you showing
You
me
should remember Lily Lee
this.
at
I
some
do,
point.
yes.
She is the bassist lady.
Yeah, yeah. I know. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She released a full length album. I want to say in like November, early November. Um, and I remember listening to it and just I was like, fucking hell, this is really good. And trying to pick one track on it was hard, but I remember I distinctly remember when I heard this song for the first time. I remember being on the subway platform, and I was just kind of like sat. When you're sitting on the subway platform waiting and you don't have anything to do because you just sat. And
Yeah.
I was just sat there like staring at the floor, just being like, "Geez, this is really good." um, and it blends like the kind of like bass driven instrumental that she usually does with like a more 80s style, like kind of like darker synth pop. Like I won't go far as to call it city pop. There's elements of that on the album, but this song in particular doesn't have that so much. It's more like a kind of darker new wave type vibe. Um Almost no, I guess I was about to call it like Susie and the Banshees. It's not that. That's too much, too gothic. But
Sushi and the
I don't know. It blends a lot of styles. The whole album blends a lot of different styles from that kind of period. That's just really it's really cool to hear. And she does it in a way that's very you can tell how personal it is to her because she's done almost the whole thing. Like she recorded like the guitar, the bass, the drums, the vocals, and mixed it all. Well, not mixed it, but like put it all together herself. Um, and she released it before she went on a trip, and in which she like got married or something. So I think it's kind of like a sort of like a farewell to her past side of her life or something. And it just,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm doing more about my spiel for that how I was going to talk about the album, but yeah, this song is it's kind of hard to speak too much on it without just like hearing hearing the kind of vibe that it has. But it just the way it subtly brings in like little melodies, little MIDI lines, little synth lines here and there, but it doesn't like force them at you like a pop song. It's just like you just get a little something on the wind, and you can kind of pick up on new things each time you listen to it. It's just
I do remember
very well
liking
done.
her when we checked out. Sounds like she's got like the Trent Reznor kind of operation going on, where it's like I'm
Yeah,
in
she does.
control
She
of
does that.
everything. Like, excuse Momo for interrupting you talking about the song. Just bust my.
Sorry, my bad. I'll forgive it. I
Now
forget.
she's just staring at me.
Like, where the hell is Twice on this list?
Yeah. Most years they have always made it. This will be the first time I think they haven't actually. So I guess we should just move on from my number 3 because we already talked about it a lot. Feel My Rhythm, Red Velvet was my number 3.
Okay.
But one thing I will add that we did not talk about was Solgi in the Feel My Rhythm video is just chef's kiss. Like that is my maybe not as good as 28 Reasons Solgi's vibe going on, but it's up there.
After all your initial Joy hype, you then moved to Irene. Nothing to do with Joy getting a boyfriend. Nothing at all. And now you're hard on Sulgi, and you keep saying, no, I still like Irene, but all I hear you talk about is Sulgi. I'm just saying.
I mean, it's if you had to twist my arm to pick between Irene and Sulgi, that's still a pretty hard decision for me. But
if just... Irene and Sulgi were twisting your arm to make you pick
oh my god. It's Sulgi in the videos really stands out. Her voice and like just her scenes are so separated in that video, I feel like, from the other members too, like dramatically with like the whole kind of, what would you call it, like witch kind of thing she's got going on in that or something. Like, is it
I don't know, dude.
She's holding a sword and an apple up with like
something is going on.
Yeah,
she's doing Assassin's Creed cosplay.
It's amazing. That's all I know.
Yeah.
So let's move to your number 3 because we both synced for that song already.
My number 3. This is the only track from my top 5 of the mid-year to make it in here as well. Is iChillin's La Luna.
Okay, I remember this very specifically because there was another time that you were talking about this song quite a bit. I remember.
Yeah, so I won't say too much about it because like I've already said it, but that something about this song, it stayed fresh. I think that's probably the key, is that it stayed fresh the whole year. Like a lot of the time, a song is a banger and I'm really vibing with it in that moment, and then like as the months go by and I've heard it a few more times, I'm like, okay, this is still a good song, but I'm not like, wow, this is like so good. But this remains one of the best like retro style K-pop songs I've heard. Like, it's so good. I think the thing that really sells it is how much they just give me what I want to hear in it. I know that sometimes it's like I like when music teases me and gives me a little bit. Like I was saying with Ludi Lee, it was like you get like a little melody here and then it doesn't dwell on it, and it makes you have to work. But for like real like pop music, I sometimes I want the chorus and I want to hear the chorus again, because the chorus is so good. And that is exactly what this does, especially at the end. The main vocalists are going nuts and just giving you more of the chorus than you thought you would get, just with extra ad libs and vocal lines and stuff on the top of it. And it's just so enjoyable. It's so good to listen to, and it just hasn't gotten boring at all. The choreo is also really cool. I'm also seeing them on Friday, so that's going to be cool.
You're seeing them live, right?
Yeah, which I'm pretty excited about, and especially because I get to have a photo op with the members, so it'll be me and them.
That's what you're gonna do.
I mean, I've met them before. They're a lovely group.
You have to do the Ray one, the one where you put your hand on.
Oh, the gallery. It's a bit outdated now. Now it's like it's behind the heads is the new one. Yeah.
I'm about to say something that's gonna make you so mad because iChillin's name sometimes reminds me of Blackpink's Ice Cream Chillin' line.
Oh my god.
I don't know why it happens every time I hear I know iChillin'. I know their songs.
I'm gonna tell you.
Every time I hear that name, I instantly think of that line from Blackpink Ice Cream because the way the name rolls, and I'm like, oh my god.
They have 2 members who lived in California, like studied in California, right? And their intro, one of them goes like, "If you're chillin', I'm chilling. um, yeah, La Luna just what a banger. Can't I've already said what needs to be said about it. But
I remember before this list even being made, you talking about that song.
yeah, it was always going to be there.
My number two shouldn't be a surprise with how much I talked about it throughout the year and stuff, which is Young Love from Stacy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some people I feel like would be surprised maybe that Run to You didn't end up on here. It wasn't my favorite,
Run
but
to you.
yes, as Sion would say in British. um, yeah, Young Love's just like
This is a
one
good
of
one.
those songs that's not that I wouldn't expect from like a girl group. Maybe from like it's got like that. I've said Cranberries before. I don't know that that's like the right. It's because of the chorus guitar sound and stuff. It just has like a
I know
sound
what you mean.
of of that kind of like era of music where you're and it feels like it's weird that it's in a Stacy album.
Like
And
some psychedelic rock vibe, like coming
yeah,
in.
it's just it's one of those few times where I really forget that I'm even listening to a girl group, like
Hmm.
where I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just like sometimes you expect a style or something from a K-pop girl group, and like that's something that just feels totally separate from the rest of their music and album and stuff. It feels like totally
Yeah,
separated from the rest of it.
yeah. I think Stacey as a whole have really kind of have shown that there's so much more that they can do, because I feel like straight away that it was like, oh, there's a lot of like electronic music, especially drum and bass, like connections to the way that their beats are made, and then they changed like the other instrumental and then the vocals, obviously. But there was always that little underlying like element to it, right? And then with some of the songs that they've been experimenting with more recently, especially this year, you're like, oh, actually, they can do other stuff, like more like rock or acoustic focused songs, which makes me think like I'm now really curious to see what they're going to do, especially after Poppy as well. Poppy came out, and I was like, whoa, like, what's happening here? Like,
I still don't know how I feel about Poppy. I'll
yeah,
have to let that
I'm
one
not sure
sit.
either. Yeah,
Um, well, yeah, if you think about it, in the same year they released Young Love and Run to You and Beautiful Monster, which I feel like you can listen to those three songs and think maybe a different group released
different
those like
groups.
three
Yeah,
tracks. Like it's really really cool in my opinion. To me, Stacey's had incredible consistency of releasing just like across the board really good music. Like,
yeah, for sure.
but I've always said really wild stuff like I've said Chase Soul is the nation's visual and things like that.
True.
But Sion from Stacy really just has one of those voices that's like so good. Like I consider her like the top like three of like fourth gen vocalists. Like she's just
Wow.
got one of those voices that really
Top
so good.
top
Like,
three fourth gen
well,
vocals.
Young Love is
Sion,
specifically the way
Stacey.
she uses her voice in that is so distinct and separates her a lot from me from other like fourth gen vocalists.
I don't. I think I'm still not entirely sure whose voice is whose in Stacey, but there's some very distinctive voices in there, and I
Yeah,
think that's certainly a credit. It's certainly hard to be a standout vocalist in your generation if you don't have a very distinctive voice, right? And that's
for sure.
I think multiple members of Stacey have very distinct voices for sure. Okay, my number two. This is maybe another one that you would think, obviously, I'm going to get her in here somewhere. This is The Volunteers,
Oh,
New
okay.
Plant. Yeah, this one. Oh, this this is Jeroen Beck's band. For anyone who's not aware, if you're not aware, then you clearly haven't been listening to me talk enough. Um, so this this song for me kind of encapsulates like what like a break from anxiety or whatever can feel like in a way. Or what I imagine. I don't really have anxiety, so I don't know. But it's how I imagine it. Because the song builds a sense of anxiety, the way that it builds up, the way that the tempo is structured, the way that the kind of quite repetitive lines, it builds this like tension which then like gets released into this just beautiful extended instrumental with a guitar solo and stuff. And then we return to the same melody, but the tempo is slowed and it's much more soothed and at peace. And it's like, oh, it's like listening to a way in which someone grows to understand their position in the world and becomes at peace with it. And they managed to get all of that into 5 minutes. It's the kind of experience you get from music like from like post rock songs, right? Where you're listening to like a 20 to 30 minute long, like Godspeed You Black Emperor piece, where you get like a whole story being told through the music. And they managed to do that in a much shorter amount of time. Obviously, it's helped by the presence of vocals and it's helped by the fact that the vocals are sung by Yurin. But generally just like the way that the journey that song took me on. And the fact that even now when I listen to it again, I'm not like left bored or not as enthralled because I know what's coming is like it's definitely a testament to how good their craft is. Like they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing, and it's targeted to me when I listen to
The Volunteers are awesome. They have like instrumentally they have like a nostalgia that they hit with, because it reminds you sometimes of a lot of like bands that I haven't heard in such a long time, like
right.
And then obviously Yerin Beck's voice is like I could listen to her sing the ABCs, so it's like it's an incredible voice. So it's just one of those voices you could listen to sing anything and you're gonna really enjoy the experience. So if it has a deep meaning as well, it's like okay, then it really hits.
Yeah, that one it's definitely also worth watching the music video for that, because it kind of does show that storyline really nicely. A very simple video, but just it does a good job. Obviously very close to putting some of her solo songs on. I know I did for the mid-year point, but I just thought that one topped everything that she did this year. Okay, number one.
Any guesses? Come on, what do you think I got going on here?
I think it's gonna have to be Kepler's Wadada, of course.
Oh, dude, of course, yeah. Wadada. Anyways, for anyone who has even heard me at all for one resemblance of this year since the song came out, would know what my number one is. Love Dive from IVE. And you can see the blasphemer on my left here who didn't even put it in his top 10. I would go so far as to say this is in my top 10 songs, not just of the year.
Oof.
This might be... I'm not going to say it's my favorite K-pop release ever, because Red Velvet has at least 3 of those.
If you had to limit yourself to
it's
one
up there. It's very close to some of my like favorites of like Red Velvet when I talk about like Psycho and Bad Boy and certain things like that. It's just, in my opinion, if I think about like what is the perfect K-pop song, Love Dive encapsulates like a lot of that. If I wanted to get someone into K-pop, I feel like Love Dive would be like a great song to do that with. Like, I feel like this is one of those songs, like, if you're gonna like K-pop, you're gonna love Dive. Like, it's just one of those songs that's that good.
It's definitely hard not to like it, right? What's funny is that I think after everything, I wouldn't be surprised if a year from now, Love Dive is the song which has like the most plays out of everyone I've listed. Or maybe we'll see. I'll hold that comment and come back to it. But it is great for what it does. It's certainly like it just takes a very straightforward thing and just executes it immaculately. Like something as simple as that, like post-chorus melody is just like the one day the one they chose and the way that and the effects they put on it and stuff is just like they couldn't have done it better.
Oh,
You
it's
know?
ethereal. It literally it
Yeah.
feels like I've just ascended when that part comes in.
Yeah, imagine if maybe it's influence is the fact that I don't drive, so maybe then I feel like it was a really good driving
Oh, yeah,
song,
yeah. If that
right?
comes
So
on when you're in the car, it bumps instantly.
you're just driving, you're suddenly ascending as you're driving into the light, like yeah,
There's just too many parts of that song that are like absolutely perfect. Like the narcissistic, my god, like that just hits so right on. Like when that comes in, I'm sold like instantaneously. But the verse part, sometimes I'm one of those people where like I like a chorus or a verse a lot more than each other in the song or something like that. You know, they're kind of like these separate things. But the verse slaps just as hard as the chorus for me in that song, like because it comes with the like you know, and I forget who comes in first, but it the all the melody lines in that song are just so distinct and catchy. Like there's not like something part of it where you're like, oh, that's just kind of weak in like compared to the chorus or something, you know, like it really connects perfectly for me.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna fight you. It's just not up there for me in the same way. But like, it's a fantastic song. It is very much like a pinnacle of almost it kind of it's a way that it's maybe between After Like might be the way that it kind of sent off the retro trend of K-pop. I don't think we're going to be seeing it so much next year. And it, you know, they served us well.
Yeah, I mean, you
But,
kind of saw me go from someone who thought like, okay, 11 was great, this group's cool, kind of thing, to like, okay, this group might be like my favorite like group in K-pop.
I mean,
like, it's like it's
I remember when we reacted to it, and it was like I remember because when that post chorus first came in, I started smiling like a madman. I'm like, oh shit, here we go, and like neither of us kind of we kept ourselves kind of measured for the video, right? But then after we stopped, we were both kind of like, yeah, that was really fucking good. Like this is gonna be a problem, like especially because we kind of had set like the challenge of like, okay, can it exceed 11? Like,
we thought, can it even compete with 11? And then just like blew through the fucking doors. It was for me, the thing about this song is now my whole experience as a fan of IVE is always going to be like in comparison to this song. Like that's how good it is in their catalog. Like this was their arrival song. This is like everything you do for me now has to have somewhat of like this level of quality because I know how good it can be. Like, you know what I mean?
It's a dangerous game to play with Everglow. Yeah, but I think another thing, I guess a kind of final note to say on this one is that for a song that's cleaning up in Daysang's for Song of the Year and stuff, this is probably one of the first times in many years that I felt like a winner that is deserving, and the deserving winner is winning. You know, it's like even with all of the power and everything that we get from you know who being present and stuff and for nominations, the fact that this is still winning. And not to say that by any stretch of the imagination that IVE are like some kind of rookie underdog. I mean, they are a rookie, but to say that kind of underdog is not true. But the extent of the success that they're enjoying, I think, is really deserved because of how good the song is. So as we've said many times now, what's going to come next?
Yeah,
let's see them drop an album and see if they can do a consistent full release.
I only see good things because like after like came after Love Dive and I was really worried, and then I ended up really enjoying that song. Yeah. So I was like, okay, if this is the kind of road we're going down, I'm here for it. Because like if it's always hitting like that, then I will say After Like's B-side, My Satisfaction, gave me the most hope of like the future.
It might have been their best B-side,
it's their best B-side in my opinion by far, and to me showed that they could make an interesting album if in the future.
I just hope the producers don't get lazy and think, we can release anything and
Well,
people,
apparently you just have to go with whatever Wong Young chooses against the CEO of their company, because that's what she said about like all three of those songs, was that he didn't want to do them, and she was like, "Nah, these slap." So let's
She's
just keep
infallible.
let Wong Young steer the ship if this is what's been
And
happening. Okay,
also,
like,
to think of that, like imagine the, the the fact that there are producers producing songs that are as good as those, that some CEO goes, nah, let's not do that, and then they just get dropped and end up never being released, or
yeah.
like, or more likely go to some Nugu and then no one listens to it. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
you
Sun
know,
Meteor and Love Dive Down, which is just wild to now that I think about it. Like, but and then
God, imagine that post chorus with all Sunmi's vocals
oh
layered on
my
it. That
god,
would,
if Sunmi had released Love Dive, I would have called it quits and just died at that moment. But I am glad we got it for my. It is great
yeah,
as a
it
group
did work. It
song.
did work.
I will say I'm more of that CEO of Starship. What WJSN songs have you been churning down for the last like 7 years or so? That's what I want to
Yeah,
know. Yeah.
good point.
All right. Well, what do we got from you?
This is going to be so anticlimactic. My number one is Skyscraper by Jane Pop. And
I
everyone's going to be like, what the fuck?
I'm trying to think if I've ever heard this, and I don't think I
I,
have.
I don't think so. I think I may have deliberately not played it on a live in order to not give it away.
Okay.
It's a fairly recent release. I think it came out November or maybe late October. Um, so it's kind of hard to explain why I like this song so much, and maybe come next year I won't like it as much. But something about it is very, it got me. I don't know. So Jane Pop is then is a two piece, like a duo of dudes, but they kind of keep themselves very low key, like they don't present themselves publicly or anything really. Um, and it's a synth poppy type song, but like it's, I guess the way to describe it would be like synth pop with feeling, if that makes sense.
It does, and I had if I had to assume the genre,
I mean, you
I
could
had to
guess with
know it
me,
was
right?
synth
Yeah,
pop. Like it's
you could guess. So, okay, so the song is called Skyscraper, right? And the picture, the album artwork is like a night city. It's not city pop, but they talk about, they're like, I can hear them talking about loneliness, and they say the word loneliness a lot. And I think maybe just for me, like living in a new city, um, and kind of experiencing, I guess you would call it loneliness. I don't necessarily think it's becoming a mental health exposition for me, but just like being like, oh shit, like none of my friends are here, and I don't see my family anymore, and I have my coworkers or whatever, but I don't really consider them friends in the same way. I'm just living in a city by myself and trying to find my own way and stuff. And this song kind of encapsulated all of those feelings that I had and was able to kind of express it
the meaning of
in a
it
musical way.
connected.
Yeah, it's still a great song, like from an objective standpoint. I think, like, I'm pretty sure anyone would listen to it and be like, "Oh, this is a good song." But I think just the way that it kind of resonated with me personally is why it ended up shooting up to my top 10. At least at this point. I mean, like I say, maybe come next year I'll be like, I was being sentimental and silly. It's not that good or whatever. But yeah, that one, it's a special one. So that's my number one.
It's a valid reason. I'll accept that for why Love Dive is not your number one for the. Yeah. I think overall that is actually the surprising one out of all of them on the list, because I just didn't know about that song. So like I think some of the other ones I actually wasn't surprised to see, like the Volunteers get up there in like top 3.
Right.
I know you're like the biggest Jurgen Beck simp that lives on this planet, so Dude, I actually am surprised maybe that wasn't. I thought initially maybe Volunteers will be like the number one for you.
They could have been. They
Yeah.
could have been. Yeah, for sure.
I'm trying to think now. We did our honorable mentions.
Yes,
Correct.
we did.
Okay. So now it is time to move to albums.
Well, before that, I had like a couple other mini categories just for like one or two songs that I thought we should mention just for the sake of it. So this year we had like what I'm going to call the nostalgic comebacks, right? We had comebacks from artists that we hadn't seen for many years, right? You know, we had Kara, we had Girls' Generation, we had Big Bang.
You're gonna bring up Forever One. I know.
I'm not. I'm actually not. So I thought to myself, what would be if I had to pick one or two songs to be my like favorite out of those big comebacks from artists that we haven't seen for a long time? They would be Psy, and like that was on my top 5 at the midpoint of the year. Still a super fun song, like no masterpiece, but just really fun, like classic Psy, you know. And the other one is Big Bang, Still Life. I think the more and more I heard that, the more I just enjoyed it for what it was, as well as just like, oh, it's great to see Big Bang again, because obviously that was a part of it at first. But then it was like, actually, I just really enjoy this as a song by itself. I think I did get kind of screwed in the same way that when my boo hit me, is that same bar plays Still Life a lot. And when it's late on a Friday and I'm drunk, and
yeah. I will admit, when that song came out, I was reminded how much I love Taeyang's voice. Like, how distinct that man stands out, like, in K-pop. Like, his tone of voice is just perfect. Like, there's so much emotion instantly in that man.
The way he opens that, but then the way he opens it, and then you have TOP rapping, and you're like, oh, it's every part of it. It's like, man, I missed every aspect of them, you know?
Yeah.
Although, to speak about Big Bang news, so Taeyang's supposedly dropping a solo album early next year, allegedly. One of the collabs on it, allegedly, is with none other than Jimin of BTS. You can imagine how well fandoms have responded to this news.
Oh yeah, I forgot there's like beef with the two fandoms, huh?
Oh, of course. Anyway, we'll see what happens there.
Because they forgot that G-Dragon is king.
And also, T.O.P. is going to space. T.O.P. will become the first K-pop idol in space.
I did see that with that really rich, like, Japanese vocal.
Japanese billionaire has just picked a bunch of people, including Steve Aoki, which is a fun connection as well. Fucking, what's he gonna do? I don't know. Whatever. It's just a fun I wanted to give a shout out to a ballad of the year. I've actually listened to a lot of ballads this year, and I feel like I haven't done enough. It's hard to do proper justice to saying it to ballad, because ballads can be quite samey, right? And
I threw a ballad in.
Whenever you like talk about a ballad, you're just kind of like, yeah, their voice is really nice and the song has nice meaning or whatever. Yeah, that's kind of it. But this one I wanted to give was Park Bom's Remember.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
This was a really, really nice song. I love the way that she plays with key shifts and pitch shifts and stuff in it. It's really, really cool. And obviously her voice is great, but there's actually some pretty cool stuff that she does with it in this song in particular. Nice feeling. Good ballad. Good job.
Park Bom has a voice that'll carry a song, so that's like for sure.
Yeah. I wanted to give a shout out to some trot songs. The Trot Light, the Spotlight Trot Light, you know.
Spotlight.
Yeah, I'm waiting for someone to sample that. Again, so I did it already, but anyway.
YouTube will DMCA me for my voice doing
for doing that. Yeah. So, Young Tak, Like a Gentleman, just a fucking great song. I love everything.
Oh, is that like younger trot dude you showed me the other day?
No, that is another guy on this list. That is Jung Dong Won.
Okay.
His song Bainori. Yeah, he's the 15-year-old kid. Fucking drops his like disco X like traditional Korean music trot song. It's just
he's 15 years old, but looked like he was born 30. Like
I feel like if you're a trot singer, you just come out in a sparkly jacket with a cheesy smile. You're just like when you walk out of the and also Kim Na-hee's song Opaya, which is not as cutesy as it sounds. Not like like the Aegyo song like Opaya.
Oh, okay, I do know that.
Yeah, it's not that one. Okay, it's not that song. it's a song with the same name, but it's a very fun, cool trot song. And in general, I'm actually a big fan of trot. I think there's lots of really cool stuff, cool things going on in it. Young Tak's album is on my album list, which we'll come to in a second. I did a performance of the year. I had to try and rack my brains and think of one singular performance of this year, and this is my cheat because I thought it would be unfair if I put this song in because it's not from this year. But Pantomime Queendom. I mean, come on.
It was incredible.
Come on.
If we're gonna add in a performance of the year, I'm about to have pretty hot take from me, considering the groups that I always talk about. That La Seraphim
I knew you were gonna say this.
We just saw from Melon.
Yeah.
Was really like, I was, because you know how much I love IVE and a lot of the other groups there, like Idol was there as well and stuff, but I feel like Le Seraphim really nailed like showing the performance side of themselves.
They've killed it every time. Yeah, it's just the only thing that's keeping me from really embracing what they've been doing in these kinds of things is that I just don't mess with the songs that much, but like I
think even if you don't like Anti-Fragile as a song, that performance of it was epic.
It is very cool.
Yeah, and the way it connects to like that MIDI part going as they're all like marching out and stuff, it's really well done, the live side of it. But Sakura's like hand tutting thing in the beginning with like the Hydra playing in the background and stuff.
Yeah, the Hydra part was the coolest part.
Yeah, it's the intro part of it. Was one of those times where I was like, okay, Le Seraphim just like really separated themselves from all the other girl groups. Like, yeah. Like,
I think at Melon there are a lot of good performances. Well, IVE and Idol also had really good performances there. But yeah, Le Seraphim is certainly a highlight. But yeah, I mean, Pantomime is just, I love it.
Pantomime was incredible. I mean, that's what I remember the most overall from
Queen. Actually, when I made that joke about earlier, I was like, shit, that mask. I've got that mask. Mask is really good.
It's really good. It's worthy of an honorable mention. It didn't make it in my top 10s though.
Yeah. I also did, this is the last one of my special categories. Music video of the year. Music videos of the year. So I had 3.
Oh, 28 Reasons, easy clap.
Okay, for you, 28 Reasons. So I said BB, Animal Farm. To be honest, you could pick any of BB's music videos that she dropped. They're all fucking fire.
Animal Farm was the coolest one though. It had that like Kill Bill scene going on in the end of it.
I mean the whole thing was like very Kill Bill. Stray Kids Case 143. I mean that was just so cool. Like the editing and shit that they were doing in there is nuts. The YouTube aspect of it was very cool. And Red Velvet Feel My Rhythm, the fucking paintings, the Hieronymus Bosch stuff. It's just very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I mean those are all great music videos. It's just Solgi's outfit in 28 Reasons basically mind wiped me for the rest of the calendar year. Right. I've been recovering ever since.
You horn dog.
That destroyed me. All right then. On to the albums. I'm going number 10, I guess, first. Yes, just like the songs.
Okay. I didn't put these in order because
you did not. Okay.
No.
I did order mine, so do you want me to just say mine in order and then you just say...
Yeah, you can say yours and I'll try and spin one on the spot or something. I don't know.
Okay. I put into... Wait, this is... I need to swap this to here. Okay. Number 10 is Changmin, Devil, the second mini album for me. So I got my boy Changmin in here twice, obviously. But... I will say, the reason I put his album on here, you know how bad I am with song titles, so I'll pull it up. It's under all my liked and saved songs. There's one specific song on his album that made me put the whole album in general. Which it's a mini album, which still counts, right? We count in those?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm doing one which has 3 songs, so.
Maniac. Or is
Maniac.
it Fever? It's Fever. Fever. My bad. Fever.
They're both good tunes.
Yeah, Fever. Fever's the one I was thinking of specifically. I had to hear just the first snippet to know that it, because
Right.
Maniac makes me think of straight Maniac.
It makes me it makes me think it, she's a maniac, maniac from
Maniac.
the floor.
Yeah, but Fever was kind of more his. It's very opposite from Devil. Like it's not.
Yes,
You wouldn't hear Devil and think that Fever is on the album or whatever. Like,
right. Yeah, it's a pretty diverse album. I think it definitely showcases his talent. And that kind of like jazzier style. I think suits his voice very nicely. Yeah.
I just need to put an X on that because the way I strangely wrote this is with arrows. Like I'm making a conspiracy theory of like arrows
Yeah.
pointing to different. Like...
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, like I have like just a nice list on a notepad doc on my computer, and he's got like some crazed like chart that he's like pins with string on. You know, he's like Charlie in that Always Sunny meme. He's like
it's exactly like that. Yeah, there's arrows connecting that don't connect to things. Like that's like...
hopeless. Very old fashioned.
Just you just name when it doesn't have to be in order if it's not for you. But...
Okay, I've shuffled them. Maybe let's call this like not a. Actually, I'll make that change in a second. So the thing I put at number 10 is Lee Soo-jung's My Name. Lee Soo-jung, better known as Baby Soul of Lovelyz. This was her like solo re-debut because she had solo songs before Lovelyz, but she came back. She changed her name to her actual name. And
Baby Soul's so good though.
Released this EP. It was good. Yeah.
That's such a
that. I guess she's like, damn. I'm like 30 years old. I ain't gonna be Baby Soul no more. Like, yeah, just a really, really solid EP. Like, way better than I was expecting. I think, like, just like she had some really cool things musically. Her voice is really good. She also had some rap parts. She went on Show Me the Money, although she didn't do very well. But yeah, I think Cosmos, I think, is the song that stands out for me as well. As I think it's called Walking on the Moon. I might remember some song titles wrong because there's a lot of music in my head. But yeah, those two I think were the standouts for me. Really, really solid EP.
You bringing her up has just reminded me. How did I not put Yein in my top 10? I'm so sorry, Yein. I failed you.
You weren't her plus or minus.
Oh my god, plus minus was so good too. Like that. Oh, I can't believe I forgot. All right, I don't even have it in the albums or anything, which I don't even. It wasn't a full like album release, right? It was like
a song.
Yeah.
She grew her hair out, and you fell away from her.
I failed. I should have.
Tragic.
I can't believe when I had that opportunity when 11 had to be dropped out that I didn't remember to throw her in.
Yeah, it would have come in out of nowhere.
Yeah. I put 50-50 there, rightfully so. It was really good, but goddamn. All right, my number 9 for albums is Girls' Generation Forever One.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good album. Forever One actually ended up being my favorite song from it.
Oh, really?
Still, I know everyone had like distinct favorites from it, and they were like the B-sides are so good, but it's Forever One is just like, it's not like I'm gonna say it's a masterpiece or anything, but like the nostalgia kick or something, like when you're watching it, and then just like the pre-chorus part, or no, it's actually, is it post-chorus? Or that's just the actual chorus, huh? Like
that is the chorus.
Yeah. Once that part hits, I just get stoked because I feel like that's like here's Girls' Generation. Like this is like the melody. Yeah.
Yeah, it is really nice.
Yeah,
it was just like a nice song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the album is solid. Like Villain and You Better Run, I think were those ones that were like the standouts for a lot of people.
Yeah,
I think there was probably some stuff in there that was like a bit more fillery, but yeah, I mean it's Girls' Generation, like
It deserves a
What's not
spot
to
just
like?
because they're back. Like,
Yeah. Um. So mine number 9 will be Yuha's "Love You More." This is Yuha, not Yunha.
I
Okay.
know, I understood this time.
Uh, make it clear. This is her first like quote unquote like full length release, like as an EP, but her first like not single. Um, and it was just really, really solid across the board. I do think the title is Last Dance is the standout, but very hard to not just enjoy everything that was on that. That makes me really want to hear more from her, and I'm glad that this one she'd been teasing it for ages, and we were like she kept kind of pushing it back, and we can kind of see why. Like she spent a long time working on this, and it shows. She certainly, as a producer, because she obviously produces her own stuff, that she has a keen eye for what she wants to do, and it makes me very excited to hear what she's going to do next.
Nice. We got a lot of Yuha shoutouts. Oh, before this episode, I mean, like in other podcast episodes.
She deserves it.
Number 8. All right, I'm interested to see your reaction to this. Espa,
Okay.
The Girls, the second mini album.
Okay.
I
mean, it has Illusion. Illusion.
Yeah.
Good song.
Illusion, and then even though some of the things thrown on it weren't like released before the album, I feel when I've listened to it while driving, and you have like the girls, Girls is actually like a good song in my opinion now. Like I enjoy it. Illusion's a banger. He's like yummy. It's not like the but the Dreams Come True coming in like towards the end there too slaps when you're listening to the whole package of it. So it together, I've enjoyed like the whole package of the album.
Yeah. Okay. With Dreams Come True on there, I can kind of see that adding an appeal to it. I mean, I love Illusion. I think Illusion is a really good song. It's my favorite Esper song so far.
Yeah.
The girls didn't do anything for me. And then there's the English song on there as well, right?
Life's Too Short. I think.
Yeah.
That's a good ballad song. I enjoy that one as well. I think
I wouldn't call it a ballad.
Well, it's like
it's not just like a
kind of like it's still quite soft compared to like how
like
in your face their music is, you know?
Yeah.
Because if you listen to like Illusion and you put that on, you're quite calmed down from like
that's the thing. Like
happening
that's what I want from Esper is like the more batshit stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Illusion alone is enough to have that like having a solid rank for me. But
the whole package of the album, and an album should be consistently through enjoyable, like and have stuff that differentiates from each other. And I feel like that whole album of theirs does that. So
okay,
it's a good one.
But 8 would be Present.
Sorry,
present.
I lost you completely there for like
you did lose.
a whole span of time.
I'll say it again. My number 8 was Present. I don't know if you say it present or present. It's PRSNT.
Gotcha.
Never heard it said, I don't think. I've only seen it. This is a band fronted by Chun Ji-yoon, who was, but otherwise known as Jenya, who was in 4 Minute with Hyuna and people.
4 Minute in
so other people were also in 4 Minute. She was one of them. She's primarily a rapper, but in this band she primarily sings. So this is the release. Crazy Driver is fully. I feel like I'm so fucking predictable at this point. It's fully like synthwave. It's a full like 80s like Miami cop type soundtrack.
Oh, you got like the what is that old show, like, Miami Heat or whatever? Like the intro
dude, it's like honestly, it's all like cruising in like sunset beaches in a convertible like Cadillac, like
I got you
with like synthwave vibes playing. Like it's just.
I mean, I too am a sucker for like good synth, so I totally understand. Like
yeah. When I was listening to this album, I only caught it like very recently. I completely missed that it had dropped. None of my so-called friends told me about it, even though they know that I would have loved it. There wasn't like one standout track. It was just like this whole thing is really great, and it just is fits the theme perfectly. So I'm just there like, yeah, hell yeah, I want to do coke and like drive really fast down the freeway. But like also kind of want to play Mass Effect. Like those two
Oh,
things were
no,
like
nice. It has
combining
some
at
of that
once.
like kind of sci-fi-ish MIDI in it.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
Very,
That
very fun.
sounds like something that's in my style too.
Yeah.
So my number seven, I talked about this group a little bit already, so it shouldn't be a surprise. 50-50 The 50 has come in at my number seven.
Fiddy fiddy. Tree fiddy.
I think this is one of those weird things. I had no idea this group was gonna be a thing, come out, anything. Like Daily had just showed it to me during the live, and I was like, "Oh my god, this song's sick." Then I checked out
That's that Logan.
whole release, and it was like, okay, everything's pretty sick. So it's like it's just kind of like if I was to describe that, it's all together like it's just solid. Like so the whole thing is just like there's four songs I believe all together. I will say that like "Lovin' Me" is by far stylistically my favorite of theirs off of there, but they did a nice kind of different sound on each song. I feel like.
Yeah, they already respect that they came in with like that statement of like, oh, this is going to be a higher quality of music or whatever that people are used to.
Yeah.
Like we said, like it's not like some earth shattering new revelation. But what it is just done really, really well.
Yeah.
Um,
The
I need to give it
quality
more.
is the most important part. I feel like of like recording quality and then the execution of like an idea
Yeah,
that they have, and I feel like they
you
did
can
both of
tell.
those really well.
You can tell that there was some good like thought behind it as well as some good money. It wasn't just like a kind of oh let's slap a group together. Like there was clearly they really put some thought into who the members were and like what they were doing and yeah, generally it was quite carefully constructed. So and I think it's good that they are getting at least some kind of recognition for having done that because you know a lot of groups could try that and it didn't work out. So
Yeah.
yeah, looking forward to seeing what comes from them next. Maybe they'll skyrocket in popularity. Who knows?
You never know. There, if that's the debut release, then it can always happen.
Yeah. Uh, my number seven is Yerin Bake's Pisces. That's the three-track release that I mentioned. This is her only solo release this year. Was it? Did that present one come out? I don't remember. Maybe the remake one was this year too. I don't remember. But this one was like the one that really felt like her another one of her releases. Though it didn't have English songs like she's been doing for most of her solo stuff for a while, which is interesting. We had some Korean songs again. I just like the two songs like between It Was Me and Pisces is enough to sell the whole thing like an album to recommend, even though it's only like 2 out of 3 songs.
Yeah.
Like It Was Me is a great synthy song, and then Pisces is a great rocky song, and just it's her voice, it's her singing, her concepts where she explores what she wants to do and just ties everything together. I mean, she's too good for this world.
I will say, like, I've never not enjoyed a Year in Beck like thing shared with me during like a live or anything. It's because it's one of those voices you just like. It's too good not to enjoy. I will say, Pisces, right, is the one I remember the most. Like,
yeah,
actually, that was really good. I remember that more so than like, because I don't think did the Volunteers have like a full blown like thing you showed me this year. I just don't remember as much as actual.
It was just like it was just the new plant release with Hyper Creep as the B-side. Okay, there wasn't any like full album or anything this year. Yeah. She celebrated her 10-year anniversary in the industry recently.
It's crazy.
Which is nuts.
Okay, she did that thing with like Jamie a long time ago too, huh? The
15 and yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's 25. She turned 25 this year, and she's celebrated 10 years in the industry. It's like damn. Like, I mean, at 25, a lot of artists are still yet to debut, you know, or like have barely figured out like what kind of songs they even want to try and do. And she's been at this for 10 years. Like, she's only going to get better, I think, because she has a very clear idea of what she's about musically.
For sure. My number 6 should also not be a surprise. 28 Reasons from Solgi. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I talked about it earlier, like, but there's the song called like LA actually that has like the synth that I really enjoy when it comes to like with song, like getting
that one goes hard.
Synth sound with Solgi's voice together at the same time was me like ascending to heaven. I was like, okay, I just got synth and Solgi at the same time. I'm dead. Like,
I remember when I heard that for the first time. I was there. I was like, okay, that's where we've gone. I see.
Yeah. The whole album, I feel like there's not like a dud in there. Like everything is really good song. 28 Reasons, like I said, is still my favorite track. Just I feel like she had like that where I really get Solgi. It's because of that moment, you know, like the yeah. I got that SM like overarching vocal melody that I always wait for from Solgi by herself. It's nothing else. It's just Solgi. I feel like that was like what I've been waiting for a long time. So
I think Los Angeles and Crown I think were my highlights on that. But it was a very solid EP. I think there was perhaps a slight feeling of like I feel like maybe they could have been one more song or something.
It is a short like album. It feels like because none of the songs are like really long or anything like that. Yeah, they're all pretty short songs. But
I think I was definitely left. I definitely was left wanting more, which obviously helps because you can just listen to it again.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted 15 tracks. Like, I just want.
I'm gonna need another Solgi release at some point, not too far away, please. Thank you. Yeah,
it's like I've said so many times I could listen to Solgi sing about anything and it would probably be top 10 on my album. So it's like the fact that the songs were good means that I was of course going to enjoy it even more.
Yeah. Okay. My number 6, Epic High. Epic High is here, part 2. Yeah, I think this is Epic High's like strongest collection of songs that they've released in many years, if not like ever. Because I feel like they're at a point in their career now where they've had so many experiences and they can draw on so many different things that they've been through and things that they've learned to like benefit their music massively, which is ideal, right? But because they're grounded, like they're such pragmatic and like well-reasoned, down-to-earth guys, they don't let themselves become pretentious at all. Like instead, if anything, they become more and more vulnerable. And like a lot of the lyrics and stuff that you listen to on here, like you're left going like, damn, like you just really empathize. You really feel and connect with what they're talking about, and it doesn't feel preachy, and it doesn't feel like you're like just kind of getting a look, like being almost like a voyeur looking in or something. You shouldn't be looking in it. Just like Tabloid is just like inviting you into his world. And all of them, they like Mithra as well. As I always have to give shout out to Mithra because he's like an underrated hero for me in Epic High. It's like none of them seem to have gotten jaded or burned out at all, which you could totally understand at this point for a group who's been going this long and doing this kind of stuff for so long. Like they really all feel completely like every bar they deliver, every beat they make is earnest and like sincere as everything they've done before. I think this one as well, we've got some incredible features on it, like Lehigh, Yoonha. Like there's just so much to enjoy about this album, so much you can take away from it that deserves the spot.
I will say Epic High, like regardless of how popular they get, they never lose like that like authenticity, like underground hip hop authenticity. It almost feels like they've never lost that like identity of themselves through any popularity they've gained.
Yeah.
All right, I have at number 5 G Idol Never Die.
Okay.
So obviously Tomboy was great. Uh, but I'll Villain Dies I listen to an unhealthy amount of times is really why this makes it. Cause like that's one of those things that's one of those songs that like only they release. Like I feel like only Giotto comes out with that song. Like it's so stylistically them. Like, you know, just like and the way Minnie's voice is used through like Soyeon's writing sometimes is just so perfect. Like Minnie has a voice that can really, really hit, and like the beginning of it of that song, da, 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 and the ending of it, I mean, actually, where it's like the little outro kind of line Minnie has, is like masterful to me. Where it's like da da da
Mm.
da 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 da. She's always got those kind of almost vintage melody lines, like something from like a 40s song or something, you know, like the way they use her voice. But yeah, it's a great song. If Tomboy alone was such a big hit song and stuff, so you could put that album in there if even one other song is good, but Villain Dies is also just great. So that's why I throw it in.
I actually think out of the two Idol album releases this year, I think I preferred
The
to
one
I
with Nude
Love.
on it.
the,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that one had some of the stronger album tracks for me. I did like the Tomboy one, but I didn't find myself going back to it as much as I did. I haven't gone back to either of them enough, really, for
It's really
my Neverland
specifically
sake.
the villain dies that like
Okay, okay.
because like the fact that both those tracks are on there, because Tomboy I thought was like their best release, and then that is
Okay.
on there as well makes it like a good package for me. There is another one that
Yeah, that's
I'm
fair.
so bad with titles. There's another one that's kind of a bit more slowed down on that album that's really good as well. um but yeah, it's those two songs together that makes it for me.
Yeah. I think what I've really liked about Idol's music this year is that we're getting more and more balance from all of them in terms of not only with their parts in the songs, but also their role in the production. Um, like we're getting consistently like multiple mini and or Uki tracks per album now. It doesn't feel like it's a Soyeon solo show
For sure,
anymore.
yeah.
Um, which is great. And we've also seen like a lot more of Shuhua in the songs, including in the titles, which is really cool. She's really come into her own as an artist, like her singing, her performance. She's really started to feel herself, which is great. Um, so yeah, I think they're going to go strength to strength. Really, I'd love to see a proper full length from them as the next kind of project. I want to see them tell like a real lengthy story because they're so strong conceptually. I want to see that over the course of like a longer piece.
Yeah, you know Soyeon can do it because she's just written so many great songs now that it's
Yeah,
like, all right, I know you can just give like a full blown like 10 song masterpiece. Like, I know it's
yeah,
there. It's so I guess. Oh shit, we're on four already, huh? So number four.
yeah. Five. Well, my five
Oh yeah, you're five. Oh
first.
shit, I just we were both
Yeah,
talking about Idol for so
jumping the
long
gun.
that I thought we covered like the. All right, yeah, you're number five. What is
um,
it?
my number five is the Roses Heal.
Hmm.
Heal by the Rose.
I
It's
could hear Stray K's applause from Ohio all the way to here.
so I remember we checked out the two videos they did for childhood and for sour, and I think we both kind of thought that they were okay, but like nothing like crazy good, you know.
Hmm.
Um, but then I listened to the album, and it like kind of changed my take on it a lot. Like there are some really good standout songs on there. Um, especially Definition of Ugly Is, which is a hilarious name for a song. um, but I think that those childhood and sour in the context of the album as a whole really adds a lot to them.
Yeah.
Um, and it yeah, the album is very sad boy hours, and it is like
Well,
You know,
Woo-sung's voice is like the
yeah. I
ultimate.
mean, what do you
like,
expect? I like there's like the added gravitas made because of like the whole uncertainty that they had with their contracts and everything. Like, oh, they had to re-sign and do other stuff, and it there was that sort of, oh, will they still be around kind of thing. So that added to it, obviously. To now get this, like, I think it's like 3 years after their last full length or something. But yeah, generally it's just a really, really solid release, and just it hits you in the feels, but kind of in the right way. It doesn't make you just feel melancholy. It makes you feel like sad, happy, you know, like sad but optimistic, like
yeah.
that kind of thing. Um, I think the only song I remember not really vibing with was I think it's Yes, it's called, yeah, Yes, with a feature from some guy called James Reed, who I don't know. Um, that one, that
Well, I
one could
remember
have been
watching
left
a
behind.
video for that one specifically during the live.
I
Or maybe,
didn't
well,
like
I
it.
know we listened to the whole album during the live, like all
Okay.
the way through. And like you were saying, like how a song fits in when you listen from beginning to end can really change your opinion of it. Like that, the album
Yeah.
does connect really well, like from beginning through end. Especially
Yeah. And
Childhood
like
hits a lot better in the context of listening to the
yeah.
album.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not finding myself going to listening to the songs individually, but I do, if I'm going to listen to it, like I'm listening to the whole thing. That's one of those.
Yeah. That's kind of like
Yeah.
Nine Inch Nails, like Pretty Hate Machine or whatever. Where sometimes I don't listen to like any of those tracks on their own, but if you listen to that whole album all the way through, it's like a masterpiece, like the first Nine Inch Nails
Yeah. That,
album.
that was that was a whole bunch of albums like that I used to have. I used to listen to when I was younger. Just like, if you listened to Hospice by the Antlers.
No, I haven't. That's an interesting name.
Oh mate,
Hospice.
that was the I was an album about a breakup from an abusive relationship told through the metaphor of a dying cancer patient.
Oh my god,
And
that sounds actually really
you
interesting. Though.
it's like peak like 4chan music kind of
Gotcha.
like it's still good. I think it's genuinely very good, but it's not something you could listen to just like one or two of the songs from. Like it was really good if you listen to the whole thing as
The
a
context of the whole
piece of
album. Yeah.
yeah.
Number
Yeah.
4 is. All right, let's see what the. Well, I'm the Discord too when they hear this. Number 4 for me is Born Pink from Blackpink for albums.
Wow. You're back in your on your blink
I'm
seat.
back in my Blink phase. Yes, I listened to this album a lot more than I thought I was going to when I first heard like Pink Venom and Shutdown. I thought I'm probably not gonna be listening to this Blackpink album very much this year. I was wrong. And I'll tell you why. It's those two songs I just named are the weak points of the album in my opinion. The first two songs on the album. After that, I love every single track. So like all the way from you get Tally, I thought was like a really good example of like Blackpink kind of being able to hit globally, like a song that just
Right.
everyone in the world can enjoy regardless of genre and stuff. Like it's a really good song. The Happiest Girl is my favorite song obviously off of there cuz I put that in my top 10 songs of the year. But Tally and then Type of Girl. I don't know why I'm such a sucker for that one, but I am. Especially Jisoo does like Type of Girl take to your mama's house line. I don't know why. It gets me, okay? It hits. I don't know why. Jenny says like I bring money, not your dinner to the table or I don't know. There's a lot of like really just they hit. The lines hit in that one for me. Like
Yeah. I mean, they've always been very good at that kind of punchiness, right? Like
yeah.
the quippiness is the way you can kind of call it, you know, which is like a symbol of a good artist is that you can have very memorable lines and moments and things.
Yeah.
I think for me, I found myself listening to Pink Venom the other day, and I remember listening to that and going like, man, actually, like the production in this is pretty cool, and then you hear
I
that,
like
like
it
when
a lot more
Rose's
than
voice first comes
Shutdown
in.
for sure. Pink Venom in
I
my
don't like
opinion.
Shutdown at all.
That's what I'm saying. Pink Venom
But
actually in
I'm left going.
retrospect is I've enjoyed it a lot more now than like the first time we checked it out.
I still don't really like. I still don't really like the chorus. But I just had that reaction of like, man, there's so much in this group that you can do. There's so much you could do with them, like the voices, the swag, the rap, and the like just general kind of charisma that they exude. Like you could do so much with them, and it's so frustrating that like not as much is getting done as perhaps it should be.
I think maybe because
Um,
Tally and Type of
but
Girl
having
had.
said that, I don't remember the album at all.
Oh god. Well, if you listen to Tally and Type of Girl again, like I think maybe they didn't make those comebacks because they have swearing and kind of a lot more of that involved in it.
I love swearing.
Especially Tally
I should
does
revisit them.
has quite a bit of f-bombs in it and stuff, so I think, but those songs in my opinion are way catchier than the two main comeback releases. So I was like, oh man, I really wish they had done these like with the video as I listened to them, but I realized, oh, it's because she's literally saying I say fuck it da, 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 like in the first 5 seconds of the song. So they're like, all right, well that can't be the comeback or whatever,
Yeah, that makes sense.
If you listen to like a song like Type of Girl, Rosé's like pre-chorus, Rosé's one of those singers like Solgi where I love her voice so much and it's so unique and like grabs me, where there's certain parts she does in Blackpink songs that just make me like fall in love with the song because I know that part's coming up. And Rosé can just
I get you.
Hits every time.
She
Rosé
has that
just
effect.
hits, dude. Like it's like it comes in and it's something you don't get from anyone else that's releasing music. So it's like it's
like
really...
even if I don't like the song, like Rosé's parts always stand out.
Yeah,
like yeah,
they're iconic.
I got you.
All right.
Well, in my number 4, another YG artist.
Hell yeah,
done it again. This is Lee Chan-hyuk from Akmu and his solo album Error.
Really, really good. Yeah.
Really good. Yeah. Just like a beautiful 80s masterpiece, cover to cover. Some really cool stuff. Like the title panorama, I think we both really enjoyed when we checked that out. But there's a lot to really like on the album. I think Funeral Home is one of the standouts for a lot of people on that album. Like some really cool kind of gospel choir stuff that he was doing.
Melody he had like da 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 is like permanently stuck after that, like the way that happens.
Yeah.
Like
he did a great job of taking like a lot of formulas that have existed for a long time, a lot of sounds that have existed for a long time, and still managing to make it his own and putting his own kind of charm on it. It wasn't what I was expecting from him. I don't think I was expecting anything because he could have done about 10 different things and it would all have suited him. But this one and the way he promoted it also was hilarious, like getting his head shaved on stage. The
music bank.
The silent interview, yeah.
Although I love how big of a weirdo Miyeon also is, that she's just like fully plays into it without any like
just like saying something, just standing there. Yeah. Very good. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree that was actually a really good album release. I could have easily put that in mine as well. Number 3, another woman who you've blasphemed in your top 10 songs is I Envy You from Taeyeon.
I didn't blasphemy. Oh, okay. I was very complimentary. This is a very good album.
It's a great album, yeah. And the artwork, when I saw I don't have it, but Blueberry, when he put the artwork in the Discord, I was like, I realized why I can't own this album, because I would die every time I walk in my room and see Bo Goddess Taeyeon just sitting on my shelf. Yeah, it's you know how bad I am with song titles, but the pre-release Before I Envy You, that's my other favorite song that's on the album.
It's great. Myself.
Yeah, those two songs alone being there is enough. But there's the whole album across.
It was really, really solid. I think for I think a lot of the times I kind of go into full length album releases by K-pop artists, kind of expecting that there's going to be some filler or like some stuff is just not going to quite hit. But the highlights are going to be high, but then there's going to be points where I'm like, well, I don't really need to listen to this song again, you know. But with an album like IMVU, I remember it came out the same day as A Pink's album for Dilemma,
Oh,
and they were
dilemma,
both
dilemma.
like
Yeah.
yeah, but like both of those albums were really, really solid. Like cover to cover. And yeah, they could have been approaching honorable mention territory for me, but just not quite. Didn't
Mm.
find myself listening to them as much in the latter half of the year, so fell off a bit.
Anyways,
Um
agreements on the Taeyeon
yeah.
album.
I mean a good album is a good album.
What's your number
We're
3?
not doing a top 10 worst albums. That would be a fun
Oh god,
experiment.
I don't even know.
Um so my number three is Luli Lee's "Fade Away Like a Dream." So I mentioned this already when I was talking about her, the song that I mentioned.
Yeah, we talked about the
Um,
bass.
but yeah, this whole thing is just it's executed so well. Just every part of her voice mixed with the every part of the instrumentation and stuff, and the way that it all ties into the story she's telling is just like it's unfair how good it is for something that was recorded so significantly by one person without a huge budget and not in like a major record label studio and stuff. Like it doesn't seem fair that she's able to just whack that out. So yeah, go give that a listen if you haven't. Everyone.
What do you think my number 2 is? I'll give you a hint that it is a male artist.
Okay, it's a male artist and it's not Changmin.
Yeah, because I already did Changmin at number
Yeah.
10.
Shit. I don't know.
Yo,
Well, you've
yo,
sung the
yo.
praises of Stray Kids, but I don't know
Mm.
if it would be Stray Kids. Is it Psy? Please be Psy.
I mean, Psy's album was good, but it is Stray Kids. It's Ordinary from Stray
It
Kids.
is okay.
Because
Okay.
obviously I talked about Muddy Waters already as like an honorable mention, which I feel like the B-sides from Stray Kids, that album made me like was where the B-sides became really strong. Like in my opinion, because of things like Muddy Water being included, but then also I did really
Mm.
enjoy the Maniacs, you know, like that whole like comeback was
Mm.
enjoyable for me. So maybe out of I kind of gave them number 2 also because I just feel like they deserve a lot more. Like I'm kind of encapsulating their whole year in general with that album because Case 143 I know is separated, but I just feel like they dropped consistently really good music through the whole year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like we said, that it does really feel like they're just kind of they found their feet and now they're like really looking up and see where else they can go. And it seems like they're going to keep pushing boundaries and seeing what they can do with units and with solos and as a group as a whole, with everyone feeling more confident and more refined. It's definitely an exciting time if you're a stay. I mean, they sold 3 million with the damn thing, right? So
Yeah.
was it an accident? They sold 3 more, sold 3 million. So like yeah, they're they're doing all right, and that certainly gives them the freedom to experiment more because I think it means that the company who's already been giving them a big hand is looking going, well, whatever you're doing is working, so
Yeah.
keep doing it and we'll keep supporting you.
Yeah, 3 Racha just kind of the JYP seems to just be letting them do whatever. Like it's just like, yeah.
Run the show, yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
think JP himself is like he's said like obviously he wasn't the CEO anymore when they were debuting. He was like, I think he said like, well, when I listen to their songs, like I'm like, this isn't the kind of music that I would pick for them as a to do, but I've trusted them that they know what they want to do and they're happiest when doing this kind of music, and now it's paying dividends. So like, I trusted them and it's working. So fair play.
Yeah.
Which is a good attitude for for a company boss to have, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
What do you got in?
Okay. my number two is Lucy Childhood.
Hmm. Now I can hear Becca applauding all the way from Kansas.
Yeah, I could just faintly hear that. So this album, when this dropped, I remember looking at it and seeing that it's a 15 song track list. The whole thing clocks in at just under an hour, and like an hour is a long time for an album.
Yeah.
Like, you know, even for like K-pop albums, you are on the shorter side usually, maybe around like half an hour. I think in the West we might be accustomed to like 40, 45
The only
minutes
time you
maybe.
usually get like an hour album is like I listen to Tool or something, you know, like they have like 12-minute intermissions of bongo drums or something in between like one of the
Right,
songs.
like prog metal is gonna be long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like for me it was like post rock or whatever is like would have like hour or 2 hour long albums, but an hour, a solid hour is, I was like, okay, like I said, I'm expecting there's going to be some filler. I'm expecting stuff is not going to be all great.
Yeah.
But every song that came on, I was like, okay, this will be one that's forgettable. And then it never was. Like every song on there was really good. It was all very clearly like fitting into the concept of youth and childhood and stuff. And they implemented these like kids laughing sounds and stuff and samples and whatnot to kind of tie it together nicely. Obviously, like the way that Lucy is structured as a have the violinist that everyone will know is their first thing, but it's never gimmicky, and they're always able to make the focus of the song either more about the violin or more about guitar or more about vocals. Like they can do any aspect of that and it never feels like they're falling back on a crutch or anything.
Yeah.
It just, yeah, it was all done really, really well. There are two features. They're one from D-Hack, who has got one of the most recognizable voices like in the whole of Korea. Like you hear him say one line, I can't even come close to it trying to imitate it, so I'm not going to, but you just know, oh, that's D-Hack, and but it fits really nicely. And also Sung in here, who I don't know as well, but she fit on the song. She did nicely as well. Yeah, just a really, really solid release from them. I was very happy with it. Certainly made me pay real close attention to them.
It does seem like they got like a lot bigger this year, obviously, because they got like nominated at Melon and
yeah,
all that. I feel like that's a really big deal. Like for
yeah, I started hearing some of their songs getting played in like just in stores and stuff. Just and their concert was a solid venue, got some like solid turnout and stuff. They're of course label mates with Billy, so that's fun.
That is such a weird thing for my brain to get back around. Billy and Lucy are on the same label as each other.
They hang out. So just very, very.
That's one of those things that breaks my brain. Like when I remember that Chaeyoung is on the same label as Oh My Girl, and then I'm like, wait. It's a trip to think about sometimes. All right, number one should be so easy for you to guess what my number one is. Obviously, I can't put IVE because they were EPs or whatever. They weren't albums.
Okay, it's Dreamcatcher.
I mean, I did really like the Dreamcatcher album because it had Starlight and stuff. And the only thing was I kind of wanted to swap like songs between the two Dreamcatcher albums to make the perfect album for me. If I had like Vision and Starlight on the same album, I think I would have been like, that's when I would be like, this is like the album of the year or whatever, you know what I mean? My album of the year is actually Young Love from Stacey.
Okay.
And that is because Young Love was so close to being my favorite song. Just I was like, nope, and just like swapped that out of existence and being number one. And because Run to You, I think, was my favorite like main comeback of theirs. So having both of those on the same album, like, and the other songs are just all good on the album, but those two being on there alone was enough to make it like solidified for me.
Yeah, that's right. I remember it being a really solid EP. I need to go back and listen to the other songs again because I can remember. I know obviously Run to You and Young Love, but the others I don't remember. It's the problem when I listen to too much stuff and I
If
just
they had
forget.
also had Beautiful Monster somehow tied into the Young Love release,
Ugh,
oh dude, like, that would slap just too hard.
yeah, I mean unfair almost.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
imagine if I've had released as the album package their releases this year. Like,
I have a suspicion that they might end up doing that, but I guess we'll
like
find out.
that's too perfect. Like if you're telling me
Yeah,
I have an album and it starts like 11 goes into Love Dive goes into like After like into like all these into My Steps,
yeah,
I'm it's too much. Like
yeah. What
it's
can you do?
yeah.
How does anyone compete with that? Yeah. Um, I have two honorable mentions. And I put them as honorable mentions not because I rank them like lower or anything, but just because they don't really. I feel like it's maybe pushing it a bit to have them in a top 10 albums list, like a K-pop albums list. So one is Young Tag's MMM. This is the trot mastermind in my opinion. Like Lim Young Woong is at every single award show ever, and he's constantly cleaning up.
Yeah.
And that's deserved for what he's achieved. But Lim Young Woong was number one on Mr. Trot, and Young Tak was number two, right? And I feel like Young Tak deserves at least a fraction of the recognition that Lim Young Woong is getting in terms of all these invites and awards and stuff. And this album is so good, and he explores so many different things. Like when I say he's a trot singer, like there's a lot more to this album than just trot songs.
It's not just like the really upbeat da, 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 like trot style. Like
Yeah,
yeah.
like he explores all kinds of different genres from like disco to like Korean traditional music, and he has like a lot of ways of changing his voice to make to suit. It's not all of that same like very like vibration heavy.
Yeah, because when you think of trot singing, you think of like da da ya, or someone does
Yeah.
that like a lot or something, but he doesn't always just vibrato his voice
Yeah.
and saying, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, he has a same with Young Woong, right? Like he has some more. His is more focused on ballad singing and stuff, but Young Tak has a lot more variety. It's definitely more pop and upbeat, but there's some very like really cool stuff on there. Devastatingly, it's not on Spotify at the moment. It got taken off a few months ago. It was at the start, and a lot of his music is on there, but for whatever reason, the album isn't. So you have to listen to it elsewhere.
That's interesting.
But it's really good. Honestly, it's cover to cover is a brilliant album.
I would not. I didn't guess you were gonna do a trot album as the #1 album of the year.
Listen, this is not my number. This is my honorable mention.
Honorable mention. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I have one other honorable mention before my number one. So this is, I think I want to say it's pronounced trap, but it's TRPP. I've been saying trap.
I mean, yeah. How else? I don't know how.
Trap.
Like,
Yeah. So this is their album Here to Stay. They are a band, and I didn't include them on this because I feel like unlike Lucy, who are under a big kind of K-pop label or whatever, they're like an indie group basically. So I was like, it's kind of pushing the limit of. There were groups like Lacuna and stuff I was considering as well, but they're basically a shoegaze band at this point. They explore other sounds a little bit, but like very much like My Bloody Valentine kind of shoegaze sound.
Gotcha.
Which I'm a huge sucker for. Like I was a huge. I loved listening to My Bloody Valentine. Like Loveless was one of my go-to albums to listen to. If I didn't know what I wanted to listen to, I'd put that on. And this just like scratches that itch that a lot of rock bands in Korea don't have at the moment. I guess only really the Volunteers kind of dig into that kind of shoegazy sound from what I listen to at the moment. Yeah, it's just really, really solid. Like I listen to it's on the longer side. Let me just remind myself exactly how long it is. 53 minutes.
Oh, god, almost an hour.
30 tracks. Yeah. Like
7 minute song shy of an hour. God damn.
Yeah. And like one of the first song on it is 6 minutes long.
It's like the same length as the Master of Puppets album.
Yeah. So like
It's like,
it's a very kind of, one of those like sonic wall of sound type things, right? It's there's that they deliberately don't have any one aspect of the instruments or the vocals being too high in the mix. Like they keep them all very equal, so you'll kind of just enjoy all of it
oh, so the singer
simultaneously at
even
the same
isn't
kind of level.
like over the
Yeah,
top of the instruments or anything.
yeah, like very kind of another instrument in the mix kind of
Gotcha.
vocals. It's kind of hard, not always easy to hear what they're saying and stuff like that. And that's a very deliberate choice. There's a male and female vocalists involved. Um, yeah, just really really good. Certainly not the kind of music that's gonna be for everyone, but just for me as a shoegazy fan, that was the one I had to mention.
I don't remember ever
Um,
checking them out. I'll have to see that in a live.
yeah, and my number one. This is kind of a cheat, but this is the End Theory Final Edition by Yuna,
Okay,
of
before you
course.
got to Yunha being said, I thought you were naming like the title of a Netflix anime there for a
No, no.
second. The End Theory
So,
Final Dimension, like
Final Edition. So
Final Edition.
the reason this is a cheat is because this is a repackage from her album from last year,
Okay.
End Theory. So she released that at the tail end of last year. Then it got a repackage that released this year with 3 new songs. Um, and I'm cheating by counting that as the whole album. So I'm technically counting songs from last year as well. If you reject this and veto it, then I understand.
I'll allow it. It is repackaged.
And certainly 2 of the songs that were included as part of the repackage, Black Hole and Event Horizon, are very much like among the best songs on that album. And Event Horizon is the one with which she just picked up a fucking Inkigayo triple crown.
The video is crazy too, where she like
Yeah,
starts ascending into like alternate dimension towards the end or whatever, like the
yeah.
visuals of it, at the
It's
same
it's
time.
actually now the song with the second most perfect all kills of this year behind Tomboy. I think in like 2 days it could overtake Tomboy.
Damn.
If she keeps it up. So she's had an amazing end to the year. Like she herself is like she posted a meme that was like her face on like a Thomas the Tank Engine train, like going through space. She was like, this is my life at the moment. Like what is happening?
Yeah.
Like but yeah, I mean she's really cool. She's like the C9 company's mom, which means she's like Signature's mom. So obviously I will always love her for that.
So she's
But
Chase
this,
Law's senior then.
yes, by some distance, but I mean, she essentially built that company. Like C9 was originally like her company, and then she kind of sold it to a conglomerate. Anyway, I won't get into the business of what happened. But yeah, the whole album is just like magnificent. There's only 1 or 2 songs in there that I skip or find myself skipping. And there's songs on there that are just like Stardust, especially, I think is the one that's just become like a life-changing experience. When I saw that live, like I was just there like, oh my god. And that was a concert in which I just saw Stacy, Kepler, BY, Zico, but was the highlight because of how fucking amazing it was to see that. And just like the hold that she had on the audience with her voice alone. There's a part in that song where there's no instrumental at all. It's just her voice, and it just like you could like, if it wasn't for her singing, you could hear like a pin drop in the whole crowd. Like everyone's there just like holding their collective breath. It was pretty incredible. I think just the variety of songs on that, because there's like full on like EDM type heavy like drop based song, almost not like a club song, but like it's got like some heavy electric
Yeah, it
instruments
has
in
some
it.
like 808 bass in it, like
Yeah,
where it goes like
and
fully through your sub speaker, like yeah.
then there's like more like the pop rock, like Event Horizon and Black Hole are pretty like pop rock, but not slightly on the heavier side a little bit to in the choruses and so on. Stardust is more of a like an IU-esque orchestral type ballad, and then you have Orc Cloud, which is like a country pop rock song, like complete with a tap dancing break in it. Like
Hell yeah.
it's just it's fucking awesome. Like she covered so many different ideas in it, and she executed all of them so well. Like, yeah,
It'd be sick like
had to be a man of
if
war.
she keeps going through and gets like another all kill, some of that success like trickles down to signature would be dope.
Well, they just had their company had like their Christmas album released, which means that technically this is its Signature's first time charting on Melon Top 100 because that song got into the top 100. But maybe they're a little bit piggybacking on some. I mean, it's like Yunha and Sukin from SG Wannabe and Six and CIX, I should say, and EPEX. So like more popular boy groups, but the Siggies are there.
Let's go
Come
signature. It's you
Yeah.
2023.
The year of the
Yeah,
Siggies.
year of signature. Chase Soul will once again mantle being the nation's visual, like always. But
Someone's just gonna take notice.
how is she not in a drama or something? I don't understand. Okay, anyways, that concludes our top tens and quite a few of our honorable mentions.
Yeah.
I didn't really talk enough about Yeji's Grunt and Itzy Voltage, but we'll move on. We'll call it for because I could talk about that for far too long. So you don't want to get me started.
Maybe one episode we should just do like a favorite noises.
Favorite noises of K-pop.
Like just bits where they say there's some weird noise or some.
I don't know what would beat Yeji's Grunt from Voltage for me. I can't remember what else is like iconic like that for me. I will conclude that's my conclusion. If there's anything you haven't checked out from the year, Voltage, Yeji's Grunt is worth listening to Voltage for. There you go.
What about that bit in I Got a Boy where they all go ha?
Nope, it doesn't beat. It doesn't beat the the fire alarm that comes in. Okay, it's perfect.
My mind is racing.
Nothing has instantly solidified a banger for me as quick as that. Okay, it's perfection. Mm-hmm. Good job, Yeji. Good job on 2022. Anything to add in conclusion?
I think it's a good note to end it on.
All right. I'm Honan.
I'm Oliver.
Goodbye.